What's up? We are here. All the wait is over. The Denver Broncos franchise turnaround starts right now, and y'all are here for it. I absolutely cannot wait. If you're new to this channel, I'm Ben, diehard Denver Broncos fan. Sitting in the hot seat with me is my main man, Paul, who watches more college football than anyone I know. As you can tell by the wrong shade of orange and blue, which kind of looks like the new Broncos uniforms. Kind of like
That's
they're
why I wore.
Exactly. But Paul's a huge Bears fan and also a huge University of Michigan fan. So he knows a ton about JJ McCarthy. And with the Bears having 2 picks in the top 10, he's been watching this draft class more than anyone else I know. So super pumped to see a lot of you here. My man AJ right here is probably the biggest JJ McCarthy fan and has been on JJ McCarthy since like,
oh, let's go, AJ.
Yeah, since like really since November. So it's going to be absolutely crazy to see how all this goes down. Thanks for joining us. We've agreed to a couple ground rules here that Twitter is early on a lot of these picks, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so we don't want to like spoil anything. So we are streaming the ESPN broadcast or the ABC simulcast there. And we will be live reacting as they pick. So if you could refrain from any spoilers in the chat, that would be awesome. As I've said before, I grew up in Denver. My family and I moved out here to be close to my wife's family, which is Paul and his whole crew. So we're out in Michigan. Curious as we're starting this, where are you all watching from? Excited to see who all is here and where you're watching from. Paul, what's the hot gossip? Like, what have you heard, just a couple minutes away from this thing kicking off?
There's a ton of stuff going on today. I've heard the 49ers are looking to trade either Ayuk or Debo to try to get into the top 10.
Who would they be trying to get there?
I don't know. I don't know if they want, because I think they lost some guys on defense, right? So I don't know if they're going to want maybe like Byron Murphy or a new D tackle, or if maybe they just don't want to pay Ayuk and want one of these new young receivers that's on a rookie deal. I think I heard the Rams are trying to move into the top 10. I think a lot of people speculate maybe Brock Bowers right there, or maybe, again, Byron Murphy is like the heir to Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's like half the teams are either trying to move up or move down. It should be a crazy night.
If you had to predict Denver Broncos, are we moving up, moving back, or staying put?
I think you're moving up for JJ. I think tonight's the night. Dude, JJ is going to be a Bronco. That's what I'm rooting for.
That Broncos flag, I'd just be waving it all over. All right, let's see here where people are watching from. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. So we got Castle Rock, Colorado, really roughing it. Paul, Castle Rock, super expensive. Okay. It used to be like far away from Denver, and now Denver's like expanded all the way to Castle Rock. Wyoming, remember when we probably should have drafted a quarterback out of Wyoming and Josh Allen? Midland, Texas forever. Fresno, California. Charlotte, North Carolina, cool. Right. Richmond, Virginia. Wow, we got Indonesia. Ever been? Wow.
No, on my bucket list.
Could you find it on a map?
Yeah, I think I could. It's got like a million islands, right? That sounds like
I don't know. I'm state certified to teach geography, but couldn't find it. That's for absolute certain. Peoria, Arizona, Westminster, Colorado. Let's go. That's where I was born and raised. 104th and Huron about. Chicago.
There we go.
Yeah.
Let's go Bears.
Yep. We got Fort Collins, Atlanta, Georgia, San Diego, Thornton. There we go. Thornton High School is where I went. My man Crilly. So yeah, we got people from all over the place. Prescott, Arizona, Florida, Albuquerque. Very cool, man. This is going to be super, super cool. All right. So as Cherry Creek, now Cherry Creek is really roughing it. That's where like Russell Wilson lived.
Oh,
most expensive house in Colorado there. So very cool, man. Well, yeah, excited to have you all here. This is going to be a really, really fun night. We are prepped and ready to go all 4 hours, especially like if the Broncos end up trading back, like you could see us like hanging on till pick 20, 25, like that would be nuts. What do you like philosophically, Paul? Like if Sean Payton really identifies Bo Nix as his man, is the trade back and picking up later the smart move, or is it better to get him at 12 and not even risk it?
And obviously, in a perfect world, you manage to add more picks and still get Bo Nix, but especially with like the Raiders right behind you, like the last thing you want to do is feel like, oh, we can trade back and get our guy and get picks, and then watch the Raiders get him and he tortures you in the division for the next 15 years. So I think obviously in a perfect world you'd love to trade back, but it might be the smart call to just be like, we like Bo Nix, let's just get him and not take that risk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I know there's a lot of hater love for D-Mac. He's like the big, and I've sent you stuff from him even living out there. Like he's the big radio personality in Colorado, and he says that trading back for Bo Nix shows that we're not actually committed to him and that like we're settling on him. I don't know if I feel that way. Like if Sean Payton is confident he can get his guy and we can pick up picks, that would be sweet. Oh man, look at D-Town, dirty D-Town, man. There it is. Oh my goodness.
Wow, that is a lot of people.
So Paul and I are probably, is that like a 3-hour drive for us?
Yeah.
And we really contemplated, like, do we go there? But like in Michigan at this time, I predicted it was going to be like sleet and not nice. And seeing that, do you have any regrets?
You know, I'm pretty pumped to be here on this channel, but it looks awesome.
I mean, and on like, to watch Caleb walk across would have been cool, but we would have been all the way in the back,
a mile away.
And then you're like spending 5 hours outside watching Roger Goodell read from a podium, like, and you don't see the highlights, any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, wow. Yeah, so much other stuff going on tonight too that we'll be checking in. Mark, thanks, man. We love doing this, and I've had an absolute blast doing this channel. So thanks for the shout out there. Watching the Nuggets go up 3-0. I'm sporting my Nuggets shorts there. Whoop. Edit that out of the stream. Maybe hike those up a little too high, but yeah, I'll definitely be having the simulcast on here as well. So, oh man. All right, so love to hear from all y'all in the draft here. Is do you think the Denver Broncos are most likely to trade up, trade back, or stay at 12? Very curious to hear. Paul's prediction was trade up, right?
Yeah, I think JJ falls past like 4 into like the 7-8 range, and the Broncos trade up. That's my official prediction.
Yeah, if he falls, like I think it would take multiple firsts to get into the top 4. I don't want that. So if he falls to 8 with the Atlanta Falcons, let's go get him. But yeah, that'll be very interesting to see. Curious to hear the final predictions from all y'all on the comments here. Do you think we trade up, trade back, or stay at 12? Let's see.
I love all the JJ love on here. He's going to be the guy. Loving it.
Trade back, extra second pick. Okay. What is your prediction on how many quarterbacks go in this first round?
I mean, I think it's going to be all 6. Like, there's a lot of heat that Penix is going to the Raiders, and it's hard to imagine Bo Nix falling out of the first round. So I mean that would be 6 of them.
Wow.
I feel like if you're waiting after the first round, you're going to be getting that guy from Tulane or Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. What is the record? Maybe you can. Paul's also like very fast. He's so young, so he's like very good at all that. So I'm just like not as fast. So yeah, what is the record for number of first round quarterbacks in the first round? There's never been 6 for sure. I'd bet you there's never been 6. Wow, we got a bunch.
6 is the record.
What? And when was that?
1983.
Okay, so before I was born, 85. Which, interestingly enough, was the last time that the Chicago Bears won a Super Bowl. So it was basically the Civil War. Yeah, I think that's a great point there. Like, we don't have the draft capital to do a risky move that sets us back 3 or 4 years. We've seen what happens when we do that with the Russell Wilson trade. We just can't have that happen again.
And I think you're seeing a lot in the NFL of team. I mean, even some of these guys who didn't work out an old team, like your Jared Goffs,
Yeah.
like having a good, competent team around a quarterback is almost more important than having the quarterback. So if you just completely gut your team to get your guy, it's pretty much never works out.
Yeah, I mean, you see Brock Purdy, like Mr. Irrelevant, right? 7th round pick. Like if he was paid like a number one and the 49ers mortgaged their future for him, it wouldn't work. But building a stacked team with him, and that was my criticism of Russell Wilson all along, was true. Like he could be a dude on a team, but he couldn't be the dude. He wasn't the type of player who raised all boats. A high tide raises all ships. That wasn't him, but he totally could have been, he could have been a guy on that team for sure. Ooh, this is a really interesting subplot here for the Denver Broncos is Courtland Sutton. Have you been hearing any of that kind of stuff?
I mean, the only thing I've really heard is I think it was just weird that he wasn't in any of the team photos, but I haven't heard any like specific rumors about him potentially being traded.
Yeah. So it's not like a Cincinnati kind of thing where he's officially asked for a trade, but he did hold out and say he wants a longer contract and more guaranteed money. So he didn't do the voluntary workouts in the pre-draft press conference. Sean Payton and George Payton both said they've talked to him and it's fine. But then on those new jerseys launched, and they were like his is like heavily discounted. So there's a lot of people saying there's a lot of smoke there.
Yeah, that would be a bummer. I feel like you look up like the top 5 catches in the NFL last year, and he had like 3 or 4.
Oh, 100%, man.
He's a dude.
Yep, 100. So we got Barry Sanders and Roger Goodell up on the stage. Calvin. Oh, Caleb Williams. Hutch. Ooh, okay. So who's going to go out on stage with Roger Goodell in Detroit? It's got to be Barry Sanders, no doubt, right?
Yeah, got to be Barry. Maybe all 3. Why limit it to 1?
And they just launched new uniforms too, right? The Lions uniforms aren't horrible.
Those black ones are really cool. I feel like the other ones kind of look the same that all their other uniforms look.
Get used to seeing them because they're going to keep winning the division. Oh, Eminem is going out on stage. That's cool. Someone asked like if we're able to show the draft, YouTube will not allow us to show that. So we are just going to be reacting with it. There will be clips and stuff on Twitter that it'll let us show, but it will like strike through it if we try to share the actual screen. So we'll do our best narrating from it. There he is, Eminem, the man. Man, that
cool,
atmosphere would have been nuts. Caleb Williams in the green room. Interesting, Paul. Can you look up like who all is actually there? So like we remember Aaron Rodgers sitting there and waiting. So is JJ actually there? Obviously Caleb Williams is.
So I'm looking it up, but just off of memory, I remember people were pretty surprised to see that I don't think Penix and Nix were invited.
Yeah.
And I think JJ was, and he didn't respond. And so his invite was rescinded. But I'll look it up here to get the official.
Yeah. Wow. Eminem's kicking it off right now. If you had one shot and one opportunity to mess up the overall number 1 draft pick, Chicago.
They're not messing it up this time. All right, here are the players. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, also a future Bear, Dallas Turner, Terrion Arnold, Quinyon Mitchell, Laiatu Leitu, I might have just butchered that name, Brian Thomas Jr., J.C. Latham, and Darius Robinson are the guys in the green room tonight.
Yeah.
And I think the NFL, like, I don't know that they said this, but all the reporters kind of said, like, They do not want another Will Levis situation. So that's like they didn't want in. That's why Nix and Penix didn't get invited. They're very likely first rounders, but they just didn't want another situation where somebody's sitting in the green room all night, just humiliated.
Yeah, can you imagine like needing to come back the next day? And that's the thing with mock drafts, like how wrong they are. People were saying that Will Levis was going to be the overall #1 pick last year. You know? They're starting
Lions fans.
They're starting a Jared Goff chant.
They chant that at like every Detroit sporting event. Wow. It's kind of weird. Wow, that's crazy there.
Wow. What do you think about like the draft has gotten so cool that like I mean we got 144 of my favorite people in the chat here, and like what are they saying? 600,000 are there? Like that's nuts, man. Yeah, to watch a guy read a name. Yeah, totally. I was rooting for Detroit in this too. Like that's a hard team to root against. They've just been bad my entire life. So it's been cool to see that. And the really cool thing as a Broncos fan is seeing the Denver Broncos are going to be the future Detroit Lions. Like Dan Campbell and Sean Payton are kind of the same dude. Last year, Detroit Lions picked at 12, and how we finished last year's season after a 1-5 start is very Detroitian. And I really envision us on that same kind of trajectory. Oh, we got a lot. So Detroit, what are we talking? It's like a 4-hour drive from Chicago. So you see with all the picks the Bears have, there are a lot of Chicago Bears fans in the crowd. And obviously, if you have a chance to go see the #1 draft pick, like that's a very cool opportunity for them. Are you ready to get the show on the road, Roger Goodell? Has like public opinion on Roger Goodell changed? Like I felt like with the Deflategate stuff, like he was one of the most hated people, and now I feel like do people kind of like him?
I mean, he hasn't really had any bad press in quite a while, but I feel like it's just like tradition at this point. Yeah. You got to boo Roger Goodell. You got to hate his guts, even though he hasn't done anything wrong in several years.
All right, the Chicago Bears are on the clock. This is going to be a real tough one. I think they're. I mean, is this going to be a record for the fastest a pick has ever been in?
Well, I was about to say this is like my favorite pastime, where a team has 6 months to decide their pick, and everybody in the world knows who it's going to be, and they still take the entire 10 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, totally. One thing that I heard was, and I think it was on a Bill Simmons show, he was saying like if you are the Ryan Pace, the GM of the Bears, Ryan Poles, all the talk that someone like Harbaugh did about JJ McCarthy, do you ask him about Jared Goff or Justin Herbert and say, hey, you're really set on him? Like let's make this trade. Let's send Justin Herbert to the Bears. That would be the only like thing, and that would be absolutely crazy. But I expect obviously this to be the fingernail quarterback himself, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I don't think any surprises here tonight. I mean, it's certainly interesting to speculate about like Harbaugh and Herbert to the Bears, but it's, once a QB's been paid, like if they're not already leading your team to at least the playoffs, I feel like you can't take that risk.
Yep. Lucci Fresh, glad you made it in time as well, my man. You're seeing a lot of guys looking down at their phones. Jaden Daniels on screen now getting a text. Drake May's looking at his phone. Is that just because we're all glued to our phones all the time? Or are they getting calls about what's next? Like really, it is after this Bears pick is live that truly this draft is going to open up, and who's making calls, who's taking calls, and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be crazy. I mean, you just see those dudes in the Bears war room, like smiling with the cheesiest.
They're like, we know what's about to happen.
It's almost like Roger Goodell told them, like, hey, you can't make it till at least 5 minutes. We got to build the suspense, but they just have the biggest ass-eating grin you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, there is no discussion going on in that room right now.
Is your prediction quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, I think the only real question is, does quarterback go 1, 2, 3, 4? I think 1, 2, 3 at this point is a done deal. I mean, there's been rumors about the Patriots, but I think it's 1, 2, 3.
We just got a
There's the
flash
guy.
to JJ McCarthy, and he's looking good, but it looks like he is in his house. The weird part about him now. Oh, he's in Michigan. I thought he lived in Chicago for some reason. Isn't he
I think he
from?
was born in Chicago,
Okay,
I want to say, but
he's
Van
living.
Buren, I don't know
Huh.
how far that is from us.
Well, JJ McCarthy, if you're watching Sports Talk Denver, you're about to be a Denver Bronco. We're not far from you. We'll drive over, and if you want to, I have like a LaCroix right here. It's like a delicious no calorie bubbly. I'm about to drink it, JJ. But if you'd want any of it,
We'd welcome you.
yeah, we would. Yeah, truth be told, for the first time in years, I'm really nervous about our number 12 pick. I am too. Like I just feel like there is a more of a weight to it. We have whittled down like our margin for error to almost nothing. And I'm unashamedly high on this Denver Broncos team. I think there's no chance we're worse than we were last year. We'll talk a lot about that, but not hitting on this pick would be crucial, and especially if we're trading up and then we don't hit on it, it could set us back for even more years to come. So
I think the goal is you don't pick this high again for several years. Like, you can't blow this chance because you don't intend to have this chance
right.
again.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. Like, as all the Lions fans I saw at work today were talking about, like, how this is the first boring draft they've had in a while. That the draft used to be their Super Bowl, and for in Denver for a long time with Peyton Manning, a long time with Plummer and Elway, obviously. I didn't even really pay that much attention to the draft because you weren't getting someone good at 29, 30, 31. And it's just crucial. And as we see with the Detroit Lions, if the Denver Broncos want to be the future Detroit Lions, they need to hit on this draft like Detroit has with Laporta, with Gibbs. Like, they've just, I mean, when was the last time the Lions like flamed out on a draft pick? It's been a while. And that used to be what they did,
Mm-hmm. And I think once you build your team a little bit like the Lions had, and I think the Broncos have too, like, your goal isn't to pick people who you like their ceiling and might contribute in a couple of years. You're picking people who you want to be a starter and an impact player year one. So hopefully we see that.
Yep. Man, what? Like, this is weird. We got 4 minutes left on the clock for Chicago Bears pick. And I don't think I saw a single mock, even like people trying to be crazy. I even saw oh, here we go. The pick is in. I saw someone in the chat say, could it be Tim Tebow? There it is. Yeah.
I don't know if that's even legally allowed to draft somebody who's already been drafted, but I love Tebow. Yeah. Tebow's a great guy.
If he would have played tight end, man, he could have been it. All right, so a bunch of predictions here that just came in on the Field. Yates came out and said he's predicting a lot of people trading up for offensive line. This is a deep offensive line class. Do you think there's a single defensive player picked in the top 10?
A lot of people are talking about the Falcons going defense, but they
that's
also are a very prime trade back team. So I think if somebody trades up to the Falcons pick, you'll see 10 straight offensive players drafted.
Toby, like, this is how could the Denver Broncos get Brock Bowers and Bo Nix? Like, that would be a dream scenario, and I think it would involve we would have to take Bowers at 12. I don't envision him falling further back than 12, but then I think that would need us to do would be trading back up into the second, but we have some trade capital that could move us back into the second. One of the interesting things I saw is, like, Cortland Sutton could fetch you a second. But here we go. Roger Goodell walking up to the stage.
Right, let's go, Roger. Give us the good news.
So how about you announce this as a Bears fan?
Okay, thank you. No surprises here. With the first pick in the 2024 draft, Caleb Williams is officially a Bear. After months of knowing that was what's going to happen.
Oh man, crazy. All right, let's we'll just do a quick little talk over what we think about Caleb Williams and what he brings to the Chicago Bears, what we see as his ceiling, his comp, what we're excited about with him, and what you think there. So Caleb Williams, obviously, we've been hearing that name for a long, long time about his potential. We see very similar traits to like a Patrick Mahomes and his ability to improvise. But I think for me, and I know it could just be coping because I knew we weren't going to get him, but there have been some red flags to me as a Broncos fan. And I was relieved that we weren't in a position where like you can't pass on him, but there's red flags of he didn't show up to the combine and do anything meaningful. He didn't give his medicals to anyone. He paints his nails. He cries after games. How are you feeling as a Bears fan landing Caleb Williams? Is he your solution to quarterback in Chicago?
Yeah, I feel great about it. I really do think he's the solution we've been waiting for the entire existence of our franchise. I think there are some red flags, but I really do, for maybe the first time ever, trust the Bears leadership. They, like last year, everybody in the world was like, the Bears are taking Jalen Carter, and they're like, no, we really have questions about him personally. The year before, it was the same thing with George Pickens. Everybody thought the Bears were going to go for him. They passed on him. Like, they really, really, really value character and guys who love the game of football and know the game of football and are competitive. That's like the first thing that they check off. And I feel very confident they're not taking Caleb Williams unless he satisfied all those demands. So I think he's the guy.
So on the clock right now is the Washington Commanders, formerly a team you're not even allowed to talk about there. So what is the who's calling the Washington Commanders right now? What do you think is going through their mind with the Washington Commanders as pick 2 is coming up here, Paul?
And I'd imagine they have known at least for a couple weeks who their guy, at least for a week or so. I mean, I don't think there was any secrets about who's going number 1. So you'd think that by now they would have a very clear idea of who they want. I'd imagine it's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And I think I've even heard some people say they like Daniels more than Caleb Williams. I know Louis Riddick, Dan Orlovsky both have said that. So I'd imagine he's here, and I'd imagine there's probably just as little discussion going on in the Commander's room as there was in the Bears.
Yeah. So we're gonna totally break down all the calls that are coming in here, but we do have a special guest out in the green room. Would you go grab our special guest really quick, just to react to this Caleb Williams news? And as we're doing that, I think it's important to just hear. There's been a lot of talk here that really is JJ McCarthy. Are people interested in him here, and would they be willing to trade up for him here? Or I heard driving in someone on the Colin Cowherd show say he thinks they've heard that JJ might go right here to the Washington Commanders. All right, right here, this is my main man, Connor. Connor, huge Bears fan, and I don't hold that against him. His AFC team is the Denver Broncos, so we'll give him that. But Connor, you are the proud owner as the Chicago Bears of Caleb Williams, man. What is your reaction to drafting Caleb Williams as the Bears franchise quarterback, my man?
I think he's the next Patrick Mahomes, and he's going to win the Bears multiple Super Bowls.
Well, I hope he beats Patrick Mahomes and is better because he's not in our division. Do you think there's any worry about, like, he's kind of a little out there, man? Like he seems to be like a me first guy and not like a team first guy. Does that worry you at all, or you're confident that he's got what it takes?
I'm confident in him that he's got what it takes.
What do you brought in an artifact with you? What do we got here?
Caleb Williams card.
Oh, okay, there it is, guys. So I guess maybe this pick will work out for the Chicago Bears. Anything else to say to the YouTube fam out there?
Go Bears.
I think it's Broncos country.
Broncos,
yeah, Broncos country. Let's ride. Okay. All right. That's the last of the Bears. We'll let them come in again at 9. But thanks for stopping by, my man. All right. So, so is this, we know that the Washington Commanders did a really unconventional thing 2 nights ago where they brought in all 4 of or did they just bring the top 3 quarterbacks?
They didn't bring in Caleb Williams.
Okay.
He didn't go anywhere but the Bears.
Okay. So very weird that they did like a Frisbee golf or like a Top Golf kind of thing and brought in the top 3 guys. And you could say like, that's smart because it, they're trying to see who's the alpha in the room, who like pees in the corner and owns it. Or you could just say they really didn't know what they wanted. But I feel like that was just a few days ago, which makes me wonder, like, do they actually have any clue what was going on here? What do you think they might have seen in that, like that little get together that would help them make this choice?
I don't know. It was a really bizarre thing that they did. Like I think it was. I don't remember if he retweeted something or if he tweeted something of his own, but Jaden Daniels' agent said something about like how like they weren't a fan of that.
Yeah.
And it definitely was odd, but their process is their process. Maybe it was a kind of thing like they wanted to see who was the alpha and who had the confidence and who was comfortable experiencing something that was maybe a little awkward and just rolling with the punches. And yeah, I'd imagine they got their guy now. And
yeah, so the pick is in. My prediction is I don't think it's gonna be Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels was saying stuff about how he didn't want to go there. You see the Washington Commanders war room is dapping it up. They are excited and feel like they got their guy. So obviously, I think that means it was not a trade. Got multiple videographers there capturing the moment. I'm gonna predict that this is Drake May.
wow.
But that could be totally wrong. What is your prediction?
I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. I think at the end of the day, awkwardness or not, Jaden Daniels not loving what happened or not, I think he's the better guy and they're going to pick the better guy and just they'll be able to right the ship.
All right, so the pick is in, and with the second overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels. Wow, man. Okay, so we are basically chalk at this point, right? Like we're nothing surprising. Looking at the war room, it did not look like anyone was calling up. I don't think Jaden Daniels was a target for Sean Payton. So far this is playing out well for us. Like we don't want to see JJ go. We want to see Drake May go next, or something crazy and someone trade up for Marvin Harrison, something crazy. We heard people say someone would give the Patriots a huge package to try to get an offensive lineman. I think the real concern with Jaden Daniels and just looking at him, he's a very slight man. Like I drink a lot of protein shakes. You guys can tell. I think, could I wrestle him and win?
Yeah, I think he could.
I mean, he weighs $180, and I think like that body type, that frame type, he's gonna have to learn to get down. And I also think like one of his biggest traits is his mobility, and I don't know how that always plays as an NFL quarterback. Obviously, like that was the big knock on Lamar Jackson, and he proved us wrong and has shown that he can play and actually throw the ball. But I think this is a win for the Denver Broncos because I did not see draft boards or rumors that Sean Payton wanted Jaden Daniels. Do you think Jaden is a fit for a Sean Payton system, or do you think this is a win for us?
I don't know that I see him as a huge fit in Sean Payton's system. He kind of almost seems like a Russell Wilson where he's better off script, and
Yes.
Sean Payton does not like that.
You couldn't say that any better. That truly he thrives on the play after the play, and that's a great thing. And there are certain offenses where you can make that work if you got a couple jump ball receivers, but Sean Payton wants to draw guys open and have them open on the first cut and have a quarterback who knows who's going to be open, and they really utilize the middle of the field. And I think, the other part about Jaden Daniels as a Pac-12 guy and a big CU Buffs fan, watching him play at Arizona, I remember watching him and not thinking anything of him. And, Herm Edwards was his coach there. And so to go from like a player at Arizona who no one really knew or was scared of, to then all of a sudden being the second overall pick in the draft, I think the Denver Broncos dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, I think you really have to be worried about his durability. He took some shots at LSU. Like hopefully they can coach that out of him, but he's definitely one of those guys. And like, it's good to be competitive like that, but he does not like to just slide or run out of bounds or avoid the hit. And obviously you love that competitiveness, but there's no way with his size that he's staying healthy in the NFL unless they can coach that out of him.
Totally. The great thing for the Broncos sitting here at 12 now is that as we look at this draft board, the more players that we have that are drafted high up, that are lower on the board, that means great picks are falling to us. Wow, the Patriots pick is already in, which means they did not trade. We heard so much, Paul, about trades happen. Like we heard, I'd be very surprised if there weren't multiple trades in the first the first 3 picks. And this is nuts, man, that we heard the Vikings were going to trade up into here, right? So this is kind of crazy. Obviously, if the Patriots already picked, like, is this a no-brainer that this has to be Drake May?
I would imagine it's Drake May. Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be.
Well, man, and that's also great if that's how this ends up happening, because it just we're not even to Drake May yet. So you're having right, like a player outside of the top 10 be drafted at number 3, and that is really good. Is there any chance, man, that this is actually Marvin Harrison Jr.? If you look at like the Patriots, they need so much help. Is throwing a quarterback, and everyone says that like Drake May is the quarterback who might have the highest ceiling, but he also has a really low floor and needs to develop right now. Is this like quarterback suicide to put Drake May behind that Patriots line when neither of us can even name a single player on the Patriots, right?
Yeah, it's risky. They did sign I think Jacoby Brissett, who's pretty capable. For their own sake, I would hope they plan on sitting Drake May a year if they take him, because Lord knows if he gets in with that offensive, I don't know that their O-line's that bad, but no weapons, it's not going to be a good rookie year for him. I think he can develop bad habits that don't go away.
Yeah, I think if you are Drake May, you hope that Jacoby Brissett does like Deshaun Watson and just spends a lot of time with a masseuse and just like working on his body to stay healthy, so that you get some time to learn. And it's also crazy that you're going away from this Belichickian like model for it and the system. We've talked so much. The reason why I'm high on the Denver Broncos is that we have a system, and it's like I told the analogy multiple times when my wife got me the new Madden game, but she got it for Xbox, not knowing that I had a PlayStation and not even understanding that. And even though it was like the deluxe version of Madden, I couldn't play it with the stuff I had. And system is so important here. All right, pick is in. With the 3rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Drake May, quarterback out of UNC. Talk to me about quarterbacks out of UNC and what that makes you think, Paul.
I don't have a lot of positive things to say about quarterbacks out of UNC. I mean, I think the Bears messed up Trubisky as much as Trubisky messed up with the Bears, but not a lot of positive things to say there.
Do you see any similarities in their game?
And I think they're definitely different players, but at the same time, I think the big similarity is neither of them had a ton of experience in college. Like Caleb started 3 full years. Daniels and Nick started like 5 full years each. Trubisky and May were both like the 2 least amount of starting experience in college. And you definitely saw it with Trubisky when he got to the pros. He was not ready for it. And I definitely fear you're going to see the same thing with Drake May.
So pro comp for Drake May is obviously Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. Like you got a rocket arm. You have right, the arm strength is off the chart. There's the video that we broke down on this channel of him hitting the crossbars from the 20-yard line. Like he threw a bomb 80 yards and nailed the crossbar. But as I think about that, his build and his arm strength remind me exactly of Paxton Lynch. And Paxton Lynch was not a tape grinder, did not study. He was very Jamarcus Russell in that. Like And even Jamarcus Russell, like my favorite story about that was like they gave him a DVD. That's how like they distributed tape back then when he was a Raider and drafted overall #1. They gave him the DVD to prepare for the next days or the next team. And he went home and came back and told his coach, and his coach asked him some questions like, "Hey, what'd you think about, looking at that tape and reviewing the offense?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I think I figured it out." Well, they gave him a blank DVD on purpose to kind of bait him into the fact that like he didn't study. And that was Paxton Lynch's big thing. Like there was all the thing going on Denver radio about how Paxton Lynch was in a Madden league and was playing Madden till 3 and 4 a.m., which is fine. Like if you're, a normal 20-year-old guy, like I did it too, but not when you're supposed to be a franchise leader. So I think it's really going to be incumbent on Drake May to come in and learn a system and study. And he's got to improve the accuracy, but we saw Josh Allen do that. And so I guess for the Patriots, you hope they do. I'm thrilled with this. I did not want Drake May to be a Denver Bronco. And so you're now the first 3 picks, none of those were dudes that I'm like, oh, I hope we get them. And this is all turning out great. We are at 4 minutes left on the Cardinals pick. And really this is when you heard the Arizona Cardinals talk about how they were going to be fine letting Marvin Harrison Jr. fall to them. But they also said we're open for business, and it's a giant neon sign. And the GM made a joke that, it's not a blinking neon sign, but it's a big neon sign. Do you think there's a trade back right here? Hey, did you check out Twitter? Is there any rumors?
So Shefty is saying right now that the expectation is that they're not going to trade this pick and they're going to take an offensive weapon. He didn't say who, but I mean, part of me thinks it's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. right here, but there have been some people who say they like Malik Neighbors better than Marvin Harrison. And then
Wow.
I don't know if you saw the news today about how Marvin Harrison hasn't signed his rights for like his jersey to be sold or to be in Madden or anything. I do wonder how much like that kind of stuff and the not showing up to anything is going to be like feeding into what the Cardinals think about him. So it sounds like, the pick's in even, so they definitely didn't trade it, but we'll see if it's Marvin Harrison or if they go
guys,
Malik
this
Neighbors.
is amazing. Like I had like nightmares that the Vikings were right here and took JJ right here. And there was a lot of mocks that had JJ at 4, right? So this is really, really, really good for us as Broncos fans, because we didn't want Marvin Harrison Jr. either. And so you're talking now that, arguably Marvin Harrison Jr. they're saying the second best player in this entire draft, but I didn't want him here. And I'm thrilled that the Cardinals didn't trade this to anyone. That's really good.
I see somebody asking about the new uniforms real quick while we're waiting for the picks. I think the orange ones are the best ones in the entire NFL. I love them, the throwbacks. The other ones I'm not quite so sure about, but the orange one's best in the NFL. Love them.
Yeah, I think and we can wear those 3 times a year. I think that's a no-brainer layup, and everyone loves them. I'm there as well, but I did a live reaction with my son, and he loves them, and so that makes me want to love them too. And also, I think like we have really cool combos. You can wear 10 different combinations of them, and so I like that and think that's going to be cool. And I love the white helmet. I'm very partial to that as well. I think they nailed it with it.
Yeah, the white helmet's really cool.
Call it, my man.
All right, 4th pick in the NFL draft. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Dude, everyone was saying like this would be the most like crazy draft ever. This is like the mock,
every random person's mock draft.
Yes, absolutely. And that does not usually happen. Yeah. So that has me very, very excited. So now JJ McCarthy's fallen at least to 5. So we got, oh man.
His price tag falls with every single pick.
Yes, this absolutely, man. Now we go from 5, we go to 12, from 12 to 5. That costs a whole lot less than going 12 to 4. We got to be thrilled with that. Wow.
I do think this is probably the scariest pick right here for like if you were to put a bet, most likely pick to be traded in the top 10, this is probably it right here. So we'll see what happens with
Yeah.
with the Chargers.
Yeah. Let's talk Marvin Harrison fit real quick, and then let's talk about, more about Harbaugh than anyone in this stream. Like you've followed him, like you have a Harbaugh tattoo. Okay, let's talk here about Marvin Harrison Jr. What do you see, playing against him a bunch of years as Michigan? Like who's his pro comp, and what do you see him doing with this Arizona offense?
He is just a stud. Like, I hate Ohio State, but like, whether it was Stroud or McCord this year, it didn't matter the QB. He just shredded literally everybody. Their pass offense was garbage this year, and he still got 100 yards and a touchdown every single game. He's like big enough to go up and take it from you when you toss it up to him, and he's just a polished route runner and fast enough to get open every single play. I see maybe like a Larry Fitzgerald type player in him. And you got to wonder about, he's been really weird in this whole draft process, but I'm sure he's got his dad in his ear talking to him about what it's going to take to be a pro, and just skill wise, just ridiculous. A lot of people are saying best wide receiver prospect since Megatron, and I really can't argue with that.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, like, one of the interesting things has been like Peyton Manning is the most generous person with his time ever. And like, I know he hasn't said it, but like the way he reaches out to former players' kids, you hear that when he talks about Brandon Stokely, and he took Stokely's kid to a Nuggets game. One of the interesting things to me is that like you haven't seen that partnership and that like wisdom from Peyton Manning to that. And I know it's been offered. Like, I haven't seen that, but just knowing Peyton. And so you just see some things that are, and maybe it's kids these days and I'm just getting old, but I don't like the diva-ness of him, that he didn't show up at the combine. He ghosted all the reporters saying he was going to be at the combine, and they all were there with microphones ready for his speech, and he didn't even show up. Trying to wear an Apple Watch during a game, which is against the policies, wearing Louis Vuitton cleats. So again, I think big red flags there, and we're now 4 picks into this NFL draft, and none of these guys are people the Broncos wanted. And so that just means that we got eight picks left, and I think there's going to be a guy that we're thrilled with there, and this is awesome, absolutely awesome. So what do you think the fit's like with him and Kyler Murray?
I mean, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is the kind of guy that literally could go with anybody. Like, I think I said it on our last stream, like, you or me could throw him the ball and he's going to be wide open and he's going to come down with it if it's anywhere near him. I think as long as Murray can stay healthy, that's a pretty lethal combo, but you really never know with Murray. He's a little guy too.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think a little guy with some speed is fine. Like, you can buy some time. I think that was one of the underrated things with Russell Wilson's decline, was just he wasn't the speedster he was in Denver as he was when he was in Seattle. All right, so more about Jim Harbaugh and what he wants to build. Jim Harbaugh, we're going to have to play him twice a year from now until eternity. Rumors that was who the Denver Broncos wanted instead of Sean Payton. I really don't believe that Jim Harbaugh's like rah-rah college mentality will translate to the NFL. And I know you can say it kind of did with San Francisco, but he's real big on, I'm a teacher by trade, and I taught high school government and U.S. history. And there was like a thing that kindergarten teachers could do and like get all the kids around and like, hey kids, we're here for story time. If you can hear me, clap once. And if I did that with my high school history class, they would have laughed me out of the room. Hands up if you can see me. I like how Jaden is doing that. And I think the same thing is true. Like, Harbaugh is working and recruiting 16, 17, 18-year-old kids to come play for him, and then counseling a 18-year-old through breaking up with his girlfriend and, hey, don't miss class tomorrow. And now he's going to go to working with multimillionaires. So I don't know if his whole like college rah-rah, who's got it better than us? You're supposed to yell nobody.
Nobody.
Do you think that translates to the NFL?
And I think, as Jeff is saying right here, he failed once already in the NFL. He didn't win a Super Bowl, but he has had some significant NFL success. I do think he translates to the NFL, but he's going to butt heads with people. He did it at San Francisco. He's done it whether it's ownership, the commissioners, players, he's going to butt heads with people. And I know one of his stipulations when he was looking for an NFL job, and I think this is partly why he didn't get the Vikings job last year, is he was like I think he has like a sleep schedule that like players have to follow a certain like sleep schedule to be a part of. Like he wants to have full control over everything. And some of these millionaire diva players are not about that life. And he's not about having guys like that on his team who aren't that invested in it. So I think he translates to the NFL, but he is going to butt heads with some players.
Yeah. Okay. So craziness. I mean, this is the longest we've come to a pick. Like this is still going. Paul, as I'm sharing this, I'd love to have you check Twitter for me. Andre Wright, 7K subs on the way. Like that is absolutely insane to me. Massive love to all y'all. If you could hit that like and subscribe button if you aren't already, it helps me out a ton. I've had such a blast with this, and never in my wildest dreams when I started this thought I would ever even like get to 1,000. So to have 7 is humbling, and it's all because of the awesomeness of you guys. So is there any chance here? Harbaugh has loved on JJ more than any other person we've heard. He's kind of added to the JJ hype. Is there any chance that he is trading Herbert right now and he's going to pick? Are you seeing anything on Twitter about that or no?
Well, I see that the pick is in now, so it seems
okay.
like
Well,
they're going to make
don't
pick,
tip it, but okay. So Herbert is not getting drafted, right? Or
yeah, it
getting
doesn't
traded.
seem like he's getting traded. It seems like they're about to make the pick here in a minute. But I think it's got to be offensive line here. He loves the trenches.
Yep.
And I think great for the Broncos that the Vikings didn't come right here.
100%. Oh my goodness. Dude, I did not see JJ McCarthy falling to 6. But this is what I kept saying, like, don't believe the hype, don't believe the mock drafts, don't believe everyone saying we're gonna have. Dude, we're not gonna have 6 quarterbacks in the draft. Like, if we don't even have 4 yet, like, there's no way, man. Like, Nix and Penix are probably both gonna fall the second round. Like, this is crazy,
it's
man.
Possible.
And yeah, if the Vikings didn't trade, that means the Vikings think their guy's gonna be there at 11 or at 8. Wow. Okay, so best offensive lineman, who is it?
So I think most people think Joe Alt is the best offensive lineman, but there's a lot of smoke about J.C. Latham from Bama going right here. I think I was looking earlier today. I think Vegas odds had Latham over Alt, but most draft analysts put Alt over Latham. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, betting on sports is not biblical, Paul. So I don't know what the odds are, but yeah. Okay, so what are the differences in Alt? Alt is a Notre Dame guy.
Alt is a Notre Dame guy, could be tall enough to be like an NBA power forward. Latham, I believe, is a little like heavier, not quite as. I mean, he's still like 6'6", a monster of a human being, but both should be great offensive linemen.
All right, the pick is in for the must beat. We beat them twice last year. We're gonna keep beating them twice. Who's got it better than us? The Denver Broncos have it better than us because with the 5th overall pick in the NFL draft, the they left San Diego. The Los Angeles Chargers pick Joe Alt, offensive lineman from Notre Dame. This is fantastic news for the Denver Broncos. The league has changed, Harbaugh. I'm sorry. Like, you got to pass to win, and you let Keenan Allen go for a 4th round pick, which was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You let Mike Williams go. Who's even your running back? You let him go. I'm absolutely thrilled as a Broncos fan. And I feel like we've got a platoon of guys that are going to run circles around Joe Alt, and he just doesn't look like he's got that dog in him. So I'm planting my Broncos flag right now that this is great news for the Denver Broncos because we didn't want him. And I think this is fantastic. What are your, as a Broncos fan, should I be hyped that Joe Alt just got picked here and that the Chargers didn't pick up a haul? Like, I heard they could have picked up like 5 picks in this to trade back. Like, that would have been disaster for us, right?
Yeah,
if they could load
that
up,
would have been for sure the smarter move for the Chargers. Is like a lot of people were talking about Vikings giving them 11 and 23 and them still getting an elite offensive lineman plus like a Xavier Worthy or another
getting a replacement,
weapon.
Or getting a replacement for Keenan Allen
for the Broncos.
Wow.
Here.
Yeah, because that would have been a disaster if the Chargers could have still got the dude they wanted and another talent and even probably a second or third round if the Vikings trade it here. Guys, I don't want to jinx this, but we are in JJ territory now. Like I'm trading just 6 spots up for here. That's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, depending on whether the Vikings and Raiders are also calling and asking about it, I don't even know that you have to give up a future first for this.
Dude,
maybe like a second and a third, or
oh my goodness, don't get
Cortland
me.
Sutton. I don't know. This is perfect for the Broncos.
Wow. Sports Talk Chiefs. Yeah, this guy is about to troll us. I just know it. All right, we're just gonna hide him. All right, big. I mean, we got the Giants on the board, man. This would be a nightmare because if the Giants got JJ McCarthy, I'd probably weep right now because they got their dude. I remember actually being upset when they got Daniel Jones and we didn't.
Dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, absolutely, that played out well. But I mean, they got Drew Lock. If they want to, I mean, they got to compete now, man. Like, why not add some talent here? Like, what do you think is the best pick for the Giants, and what do you think they're actually going to do here? Oh my goodness, the pick is in.
So they're not trading.
Vikings aren't coming in, guys. Wow, JJ's at 7 at least.
Yeah.
All right, what's your prediction?
The rumor was that they wanted Drake May. I never heard anything about them wanting JJ. So I gotta imagine Malik Neighbors right here, but I guess we'll see.
Wow. Oh my goodness, I'm sweating. I might take off this coat and this shirt, or maybe just the coat. What do you think, Paul? Shirt and coat, or
yeah, probably.
Okay.
Might as well go topless.
Gotta give the people what they want.
Exactly.
Ooh, that's good. I mean, yeah, Zach Wilson being trade bait. Yeah, I mean, I think to me the Zach Wilson is more of like a hedge that, and I said it in a former video that I think we know that first round quarterbacks only hit 36% of the time, and Sean Payton wants to have as many rods in the water as he can, and so I think Zach Wilson has like a 20% shot of actually being a starter in the league. And if you listen to Peyton Manning, he said the same thing. He said that Zach Wilson has been absolutely screwed over by inept coaching and changing offensive coordinators time and time again. So if we got a 20% shot with Zach Wilson being good, and then a 36% shot with a first round quarterback, like, I'm not a math dude, but that ups our chances immensely. And this is fantastic. Like, we didn't trade the farm for JJ McCarthy. And this is so good. All right. You got a bunch of people in the Giants war room. They're like straight flexing. Right. Who's the ball guy in the middle?
Oh, yeah, it's Brian Daboll.
Brian Daboll. He's definitely not like flat. He's flexing his chest, right? That's not natural. All right. So your prediction is wide receiver?
Probably okay. Malik Neighbors right here.
Oh, please don't be JJ. Please don't be JJ. Please don't be JJ. Roger Goodell is walking across the stage, strutting, some would say. Since your wife is a Giants fan, I'll have you announce it.
All right. With the 6th pick in the NFL draft, the Giants pick Malik Neighbors.
Dude, JJ is in play. Oh my goodness. Okay. Tell me about Malik, and like, does this at your pick is coming up here at 9? Is Malik, is he the dude? Like, what are people saying about Malik Neighbors?
Well, like I said earlier, there are some people who really think Malik Neighbors is better than Marvin Harrison. Just crazy speed, amazing with the ball in his hands. I've heard some Tyreek Hill comparisons.
Is he that small?
He's not. He's 6 feet tall, but he's like that kind of speed. And I think I was reading something today about how like they love his competitive edge, and he ran a really fast 40 at the combine, but he ran the 40 again at his pro day for no reason, just kind of as like a spite to Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, I know I'm the best. I'm that fast. I'll do it again. I think he's going to be the real deal.
Wow. Well, you look, LSU has kind of become like the place for wideout, right? Jamar Chase, like, you just could name them, like, go through the whole list, right? I think this is a smart pick. Like, give Daniel Jones a chance, right? Like, obviously he had Saquon, but I think, don't, see what he does this year and give him some talent. This is really good, guys. It seems like like so far, the Broncos have been right to hold out. Like they didn't have to outbid the Vikings, and this is crazy. So, like, Paul, what is up with? Why did the Vikings get that second first round pick if they haven't done this, man?
Yeah, it's bizarre. I wonder if they like specifically wanted a guy like Drake May and they just weren't willing to meet the Patriots' demands for him.
Yeah.
And now they're like, well, I guess we'll just be happy that we have 2 first-round picks. But yeah, I'm really surprised they didn't trade up. This is great for the Broncos.
Wow. So talk to me about, like, do you think some of the Jaden Daniels success was Malik Neighbors? Because obviously you talk like Drake May had half of the talent that LSU has, right? And like Jaden has a great offensive line, has this, like, I couldn't even name a single North Carolina receiver. Like they had that one guy who was suspended, right? Who was supposed to be pretty good, or what happened with him? Like,
I don't even know.
could Jaden's success be Malik?
I think you definitely got to wonder about that because not even just Malik, Brian Thomas, a lot of people think could potentially go top 15 tonight. He had 2 elite receivers. And like he was solid at Arizona State, but he certainly wasn't top 5 pick in the draft solid there. So I know you definitely got to wonder about that. But it could just be a situation where, you know, the QB makes the receivers better and the receivers make the QB better. Kind of like CJ Stroud had elite receivers at Ohio State, and both Stroud and the receivers all turned out fine. So,
man, so we got 4 minutes left here for the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, they are not going to pick a quarterback. So this is another great news. Like they got Will Levis. I think the worry would be them trading back. But after that, you got Atlanta. They're not going to draft a quarterback because they have Kirk Cousins. You got Chicago, who's not going to draft a quarterback. So truly, you need, who's at 10?
Jets at 10 there.
Okay. And like
if they draft Aaron, if they draft another,
they
if
won't.
Aaron Rodgers have to watch another QB get drafted, I will cry.
No, and so then it sounds like the Jets want Brock Bowers. So if we want JJ, we could get him at 10. So I think the question I'm going to throw out to all y'all is at this point, what would you be willing to give to move up a few spots for JJ?
And that's moving to number 8 because the Titans pick is in. It's not getting traded.
Woo! Okay. All right. So we got to move to 8, or maybe just to 10. Dude, it's too risky. Like, I do not want to wait till 12 for him. Like, we're this far, and I mean, it's like, I don't know. I've been in, like, I remember when I bought my first house, and it was like we got right to the point and we backed out, and we're like, oh, that's a little over our budget, and ended up buying like an absolute dump and lost money on it. And one of the biggest regrets in my life is like, hey, we're right there. Just like do the little risky thing if that's the house for you. And it's one of my biggest regrets in life. So my big question for all y'all, what would you be willing to give to move up right now for JJ McCarthy to the 8th spot with the Falcons? Man, my hot take when we did our pre-draft thing, I thought that Atlanta Falcons were going to lose the first round draft because of tampering with Kirk Cousins. And it sounds like they are going to have a serious punishment, but they didn't get the investigation done in time. Schefter thinks it will be a first round pick, but it will be next year's draft. So that really screws us because we could have, like, this from all y'all in Broncos country. What would you be willing to give right now? Oh, I know, man. I'm feeling it.
I think a kidney, right? Would you give up a kidney?
Do you need both of them? All I drink is a LaCroix. Do you need a kidney for that? JJ is within reach. We're all feeling it.
I think I mentioned this the other day. Last year, the Bears moved from pick 9 to 10, and it was only a 4th round pick. And this is bigger than that.
Yeah.
But I think maybe like a 3rd and a 2nd or 3rd next year would probably get the job done. I think we're definitely well out of 1st round pick territory. Unless like the Raiders and Broncos are in like a bidding war. But I don't see that happening.
Oh, man. All right. So the Titans, who, like, did you already see who they picked? Don't say it or you just saw the pick is in.
I saw the pick is in.
Okay.
And I think after signing Calvin Ridley, I got to imagine receivers off the board. I don't think they're thinking about a QB. Their offensive line is garbage. I I think it's got to be offensive line
Yeah.
here.
And I mean, that's also great news for the Denver Broncos because we have not had a defensive player yet. Obviously, it looks like the Falcons might be drafting a defensive player. Is there any chance? No, there's no. Do the Titans take Brock Bowers here? Like, who's their tight end in Tennessee?
I can't pronounce his name. It's
Paul,
kind of a
that's
strange
cultural
But
appropriation.
he honestly, he was pretty solid last year. I can't imagine they're looking tight end here.
Oh man, I'm like sweating.
Yeah,
This is
crazy.
fun.
I did not expect this.
Guys, we're having a blast. I feel like my best friends are here with me. Just my crowded basement down here. Dude, so this is setting up well for the Bears too, man. Right?
Yeah, I've been team Rome Odunze for months. So I can't imagine Atlanta's taking him. I don't think Tennessee's taking him. I'm hoping he's a Bear.
Ooh. You want to check Twitter and see if there's any rumors of trades right now?
Yeah, let's see what we got.
Michael, I appreciate you saying we're best friends. Anytime I talk about Colorado and friendships, I think back to Huron Middle School, just being constantly bullied, man. And I like having some friends here. Yeah, I think Penix injury risk. That's definitely something I want to break down. I think that's really what's making him drop. And I think how he looked in that national championship game, playing against real defenses also as well.
All right, here we go.
Pick is in. You got it?
Yeah, with the 7th pick in the NFL draft, the Titans take J.C. Latham, offensive tackle.
Guys, this is the dream scenario. Like, we have not had a single player who has been drafted who we wanted. And like, you can't ask for more because now you are in striking range. Someone in the comments said, we're finally going to get to see who Sean Payton likes. We have heard everyone try to predict who Sean Payton likes, and they're all still there. We've heard, I've heard Bo Nix is a Drew Brees. I've heard JJ McCarthy is a Drew Brees. Like, who knows if he even wants a Drew Brees, right? Like, I think it would be tempting. I heard a cool analogy on DNVR talk about heaven forbid when Jokic retires from the league, everyone's going to be talking about Michael Malone being like, well, I need to get the next Nikola Jokic. Well, no, that's not necessarily true. Like, you had a generational talent in Nikola Jokic that Michael Malone didn't see that. He kind of fell in his lap. So I don't think Drew Brees is the only type of quarterback that Sean Payton can win with. And we've seen him win with Jameis, win with Teddy Bridgewater, win with Taysom Hill. I don't think we know who Sean Payton's type of quarterback is just because he succeeded with Drew Brees. We saw him get more out of Russell Wilson, like infinitely more out of Russell Wilson than Nathaniel Hackett did. So I don't think any of us actually know who Sean Payton's quarterback is, but we are fixing to find out. And that is very, very, very excited. Oh, man. Well, so here, yep, good call. Titans taking offensive line there. I mean, I'm very curious. Like, these mock drafts have probably never been this accurate, right? Like, I can't believe how spot on they've been, other than there's no way that that there's going to be 6 quarterbacks in this first round now, man.
Yeah, I think the only thing they missed on was they thought McCarthy was going to be going 4 or 5 and there'd be a trade, but everything else has been pretty much chalk from here.
Oh, thanks, man. We just got a super sticker. Much thanks on that. I love it. Thank you so much, dude. I don't know what a super sticker is. Do I put it on my chest, or I'm new to this whole YouTube thing, but I appreciate that a ton. Oh, man.
Falcons pick is in. Didn't get traded.
Okay, so this is Dallas Turner.
I'll be honest. Scrolling through Twitter looking for a trade, I saw who it was, and I won't say it.
Okay.
I'm not going to spoil, but I am in shock. We're all going to react together in shock. It's nuts. I
Wow.
will say, I don't want to say anything. It's crazy. We're
Wow.
about to be all shocked.
Like, is there a picture of him with like a gas mask bong or no?
No,
Okay.
no gas mask
it's-
bongs here, but crazier than
Wow.
that. I am shocked.
Wow. Is okay. Let's do 20 questions. Will Kirk Cousins like this pick?
No.
Dude, is it a quarterback? No.
I can't. I don't want to spoil it. I will say it is not JJ McCarthy.
Okay.
And I would be pumped if I'm a Broncos fan.
No.
I'm not going to spoil it, though.
No. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Okay. It's a quarterback.
I'm not going to say.
Well, you can say, is it a quarterback?
It's a quarterback.
Oh, my gosh.
According to Twitter, some reliable sources on
It's
Twitter.
not Twitter. It's X, and you're canceled
X.
for
I'm
calling
sorry.
it that.
Keep calling it
Gosh.
Twitter.
Wow.
My fault.
Wow. That's crazy. So, yeah, the Vikings have not traded up yet. Wow. I mean, the thing that's unfortunate is like we never actually will get to see the Broncos true board. Whoever we get, we're going to hear from Broncos tomorrow that, oh, this was our guy. We were hoping he was going to fall to us. We heard that with Paxton. We heard, we hear that all the time. I would have paid a ton of money if I could see Sean Payton's board coming into this, because like I would love to see who he had as his top ranked quarterback. Man, so it's the Falcons needed an edge rusher. They needed I saw corners going here. I saw obviously like they got Bijan, they got Pitts, and it seemed like all of their money went to the offensive side of the ball. And so everyone was saying for Atlanta they needed a solid defensive player to start, competing in that division. Yep, Sean Payton's guy is on the board now, but he may be falling off right now. According to Twitter and according to Paul, the Falcons are about to draft a quarterback. Now, is there any chance here, Paul, if it is a quarterback and Twitter was correct, which we haven't spoiled it yet, but is there any chance that the Falcons selected for another team to then trade that pick? That happens often in the NBA. Sometimes like you don't get your trade in time. You have to have your trade in time for them to build the graphics and stuff. So sometimes it's like they drafted it and then they move that person later. Any chance that is the case here?
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen that in the NFL. It's a really weird thing that they do in the NBA, making their players hold up the jersey of the wrong team.
I remember.
But I
Donovan Mitchell was a Denver Nugget for a hot second. All right, here it is. Announce it since it's you.
With the 8th pick in the 2024 draft, the Falcons pick Michael Penix Jr.
Whoa.
Did not see that coming.
Dude, I mean, there are a lot of NFL dudes who love Michael Penix Jr. Like that's who DNVR, that's who Todd Davis, that's who all those guys wanted. Was
Kurt Warner, I saw, loved Michael Penix.
Yeah. So, I mean, you saw him in that national championship game a lot, man. What are your thoughts on him and why? I guess what would the reason be for this, and then what would the worry be if you're the Falcons?
Well, I'm trying to remember which. I think it was Deion Sanders said.
We call him Coach Prime.
Coach Prime was talking about it, and he's like, everybody's down on Penix because of the national championship game, but like that was the number one defense in college football this year, probably one of the best ones of the last decade. Really, nobody looked good against him this year. He was the best quarterback in college football the other 13 games of the year. So, Texas has some good guys on defense, and he torched them.
Yeah.
It's the injury concerns. You got it. Tearing the same ACL twice is, I'm no doctor, but that's generally not what you want.
My brother's a doctor. I could text him like, is that a good thing?
Torn ACLs?
Yeah. Do people frown on that? I mean, then also injury on his throwing shoulder. Even in that national championship game, he's tough. But you saw him dinged up in that game, right?
Yeah.
Truly, like while I was high on it, like I remember watching that game against Texas and being like, oh my goodness, could he go to the Broncos? And after that game, everyone was saying he might be the number one pick in this draft. And he isn't a Sean Payton type player. Like he holds the ball for a long time, and we know Sean Payton wants that ball off by the time you hit your back foot. Like he doesn't want someone just hanging in. Dude, Bears picked. So we haven't had a defensive player yet, right?
Yeah, wow. And There's been a lot of smoke about Byron Murphy to the Bears, but it's just hard to imagine them passing on Rome Odunze.
Wow.
I still can't believe no trades.
Everyone was saying there's going to be tons of trades. Any chance Dallas Turner edge rusher are the Bears pretty set there or
No, they need an edge rusher.
Yeah.
I think he's on the board. I think Byron Murphy, like I said, is on the board. Odunze, I think Brock Bowers has an outside chance here, but
ooh,
I know it's not
Cole
JJ.
Kmet's
so
good, right? So this is
Cole Kmet's, and they have Gerald Everett too, but their new OC is like huge on 2 tight end sets, and Bowers can line up at receiver a lot too. So I don't think he's out of the mix here.
I mean, we saw the success of the New England Patriots with a 2 tight end set, and if you have 2 guys who can block, you just there's mismatches just like crazy when you can have 2 good tight ends, which is why like if Dulcich can hit and we could land a Brock Bowers, that would make me feel really, really exciting. Wow, dude? What is this? Like they paid crazy money for Kirk Cousins, don't they have him for
4 years?
4 years, man. So is this an Alex Smith and Mahomes type thing where he's not even gonna hit the field, but he's so old, like he's older,
like almost 24 right
yeah,
now.
he's like almost my age.
So you're not going to start him till he's 27?
Wow, man.
Because I'm sure all 4 years of Kirk's deal aren't guaranteed, but
it's a
bet
lot.
At least 2.5 are. Like they're going to owe him money in year 3. I would almost guarantee that.
Wow. Well, Penix better go on that TB12, like just eat the outside of the strawberry and a lot of avocados, because he's going to have to play till he's 40 if he wants to make, like truly at 24. He was one of the oldest guys in the league, which to me was a big red flag because I just think like it's different when you're playing against 18, 19-year-old guys and you are a 24-year-old grown man. All right, man. So they're high-fiving, dapping. They in the Chicago Bears war room. What is they're smiling like cheesy grin, man. Like they are happy with this. So what is your thought?
It's got to be Rome Odunze here. Get your new QB a nice shiny new toy to play with. It's got to be Rome Odunze.
Ooh, any chance they move Kirk Cousins, man? Like,
I don't know why you sign him and tamper with him and lose a first-round pick to just trade him.
Call it. It's you.
All right, 9th pick in the draft. The Bears pick Rome Odunze. There we go. That's what I wanted.
Wow. And that's, guys, this is perfect for the Broncos. Like, unless Penix was our guy, which I truly don't think Penix was our guy.
Yeah,
like,
so.
I would have hyped myself up on him and been really excited. But I think this means that the Denver Broncos, their quarterback, they're 3 picks away. We know the Jets aren't going to pick a quarterback, or Aaron Rodgers is going to be a vice presidential candidate or something. All right, talk to me about Rome Odunze. Why is he a good pick?
And he's got the size. I think he's like 6'3", 6'4". He's got the speed, ran a crazy fast 40, good at getting open. I mean, a lot of years he would be your number 1 wide receiver. I think I heard a lot of people saying this was a better class than the year Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle all went in the top 10. So he is a stud. He's going to be good.
Dude, this is not good. All right, seeing from multiple people here, maybe you can verify and see what the package was. The New York Jets have traded with the Vikings. Oh man.
When I feel like if you're the Vikings at 11, you're not trading up to 10 unless somebody else is wanting that pick.
Wow. Are anyone saying obviously we're seeing this is maybe why we got this was playing out perfect, guys. If you would have told me that JJ McCarthy fell to 10, I would have said whatever it takes, outbid the Vikings. If this turns out that, like, I hope that the Vikings had to give up a first for that.
It's looking like it's a 4th and a 5th.
Ugh.
And then they got a 6th back.
Are you kidding me,
really
guys?
not much.
So obviously that means Sean Payton wasn't in love with JJ, because we have a 5th round pick that we got from Jerry Jeudy. I know we need ammunition, but like if JJ was his dude, we got to just trust that. Like, I'm very bummed about that if this indeed ends up being being JJ McCarthy, but that hurts
I
my
gotta
heart
wonder,
like
though,
a
if
lot.
Peyton doesn't see a ton of a difference between JJ and Bo Nix, because it's like 4th and a 5th is nothing. If
Yeah.
that's your guy,
Yeah, you would
you're
get down
easily
that.
saying,
Right.
like, I'll give you a 3rd and a 5th.
Yep.
Like, that's not that hard.
Yeah.
I wonder if they truly like would have liked JJ, but feel like Nix, or maybe even a trade back to get Nix, is pretty much
The same thing
the
as
same
getting
thing
JJ,
as getting
right? And then we're
JJ.
not losing a 4th, we're not losing a 5th, and yeah, we can pick up a 2nd here, man. And that's just chump change, man. A 4th and a 5th. Ooh, all right. So yeah, all signs are showing that this is, the Vikings still have 9 minutes on the clock here, but yeah, they don't. I mean,
Pick is in.
yeah, pick is in here. So the Vikings make that trade knowing that they have a guy in mind. There's just so much talent on the board, guys. I don't want Bo Nix at 12 now. I just think that's a reach now, because I think after that, like, unless the Raiders are gonna take him, like, I know we just got to trust Sean Payton, and I know it seems like I'm carrying his water bottle everywhere, but he's a winner everywhere he goes. He is unanimously respected by people who know football. Like, the Saints were just an awful franchise, and he led them to Super Bowl glory. And you just see the turnaround we had. We had that 5-game win streak of games we had no business winning, and we just got to trust him to build the system and to do what's right. This hurts me that we could have had JJ at 10 right here, you guys. Going to commercial break, but the Vikings pick will be in when we get back. Man,
what do you think the chances are that the Vikings traded up to not take a quarterback? Like, is there anybody on the board you can think of that maybe that, like, because so far no defenders have been taken. Do you think there's any chance that they liked one of these edge rushers, or maybe like a Brock Bowers or something, and they wanted to move above like one of these other teams that's looking to trade up?
no, dude, because they were at 11. So really, they just had to pick someone that they thought the Broncos were going to pick, or the Jets were going to pick. Like, they just had to beat out those dudes. So to me, you don't do that. I mean, I guess you could say tight end, right? Like,
they have Hawkinson, but he's
out
he
all
tore
next
his
year
ACL
because the Detroit Lions are dirty. I see Sports Talk Detroit is in the chat, and they run a dirty franchise there.
Absolutely.
Wait, so I just saw what is happening. Yeah, there's a lot happening. What? Okay, so I'm seeing Brock Bowers. Vikings need a quarterback. All right, seeing people saying that the Vikings are taking JJ. That is not confirmed. I'm just seeing that in the chat here. So I know Twitter can be a little ahead. We'll wait till we hear it from the actual commissioner. We know that we just trust Roger Goodell. We're very pro Roger Goodell outfit here, right? He's never done any wrong. Oh yeah, I mean, how he handled Ray Rice situation, he's just
Greg Hardy.
Okay,
Aaron
Paul
Hernandez.
can't. Oh my goodness, this is
handled
live.
It all with class.
Paul, this is live. We can't say those kind of things.
I'm sorry.
Oh man, yeah, man. If they do take JJ, I think we'll lose a lot of people on the live. But I mean, here's the thing, dude. We got to just trust Sean. I'm gutted too, man. Like, I would have run laps around my house before this thing started if I knew that JJ was going to be there at 10, because I thought he was Peyton's guy. But if it was only a 4th and a 5th, all we know is that he wasn't Sean Payton's guy. Again, not confirmed, but we're just seeing here.
Yeah, you don't. If he's your guy, you don't say like, "Oh, we're not going to pay a 4th and a 5th round pick for him." If he's your guy, you're 2nd or 3rd, even if that's what it takes to get him.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm very curious, like, if any calls were made by the Broncos to try to move up, right? Like, usually you hear, hey, there was a bidding war and the Jets took the better offer. So I'm looking here. Yeah, the Broncos are not, it does not look like the Broncos even got in that bidding war. So it wasn't like we got outbid and they threw in a 4th. So Sean Payton did not make the call, which I think, like, if that makes you feel good.
I wonder who did make a call though. Raiders? Is that somebody obviously made the Vikings feel like they needed to trade up.
Right. Wow. That's a really good point. Yeah, because like the Jets aren't going to take him, so maybe it wasn't a. There's so much smoke and mirrors in the NFL. Like the Jets could have said, "Hey, we're getting calls," and that might not be true. So here's the official package. It is a 2024 10th. Okay. So they gave up a 4th rounder and a 5th rounder, and they got back a 6th rounder. So what that total draft package? That's nothing, man. Wow. I would have thought it would take so much more, you guys.
I mean, there was talk about multiple firsts if you wanted JJ McCarthy.
Wow. Starting quarterback Zach Wilson. And you guys really, like, Paul, answer this objectively. What is the percentage the chance of success for Zach Wilson, and what is this percent success chance for JJ McCarthy?
Well, if he goes to the Vikings, I think JJ's in a great situation. I think he's got at least a 50-50 chance, but Zach Wilson's definitely a guy worth taking a chance on. The talent's there. The Jets treated him like garbage.
Yeah.
We want to do the next pick real quick.
Here it is. So they are awarding or just kind of recognizing looks like a veteran family here, which is cool. And they get to announce the Vikings pick, which we're all assuming is going to be JJ McCarthy, which we're bummed about here at Sports Talk Denver. But I think that means he wasn't Sean Payton's guy. We're fixing to find out, though.
Trust the process. You got to trust Payton.
Yep. Yeah, really good point. Rebuilding isn't done in one season. And 10th pick in the NFL 2024 draft, the Minnesota Vikings rip the heart out of the Denver Broncos by picking the guy that a lot of us wanted to be the future Denver Broncos quarterback, JJ McCarthy, out of the University of Michigan. He's stepping into a great situation there with, like you said, a franchise tight end who will be back in a couple of years, a great signal caller, obviously one of the better receivers in football. And you just saw the Vikings like succeed with the Pastronaut, and that is a not a good situation for us as Broncos fans. But I think he's stepping into a great situation. What do you think this?
Yeah,
is
I
for
hate
him?
it as a Bears fan.
Yeah,
I love it for JJ. He's probably my favorite college football player ever. So happy for him that he's going to go into a good spot, because I think he's one of these guys where if he goes to the Patriots, he probably doesn't have the talent to carry them. But on the Vikings, I mean, that's just crazy talented with Jefferson. Jordan Addison had a great rookie year. Hawkinson, good O-line, good coach. He should be great there. But yeah, like we've been saying, he was not Sean Payton's guy. Got to trust. Yep. And Sean, we trust.
Yep. So I guess like if you want to, I believed all the hope and I wanted him really bad, but the critics of him just talked about how little he threw the ball. And if you really trusted him, like you would have let him throw the ball better. You and I watched that. Who did they lose? The TCU game where he was just making throws that were so dumb. And didn't he have 2 pick sixes in that game, Paul?
Yeah, he did. He did make some plays, but he put him into a giant hole with 2 pick sixes. Definitely was. It did feel there were a few games where it felt like he tried to be more than he was, and every time he did that, it did not go well for him. Like I want to say it was the Bowling Green game this year. He threw like 3 picks because it seemed like he was just trying to get fancy and make throws that he wasn't capable of making. And every time he did that, it didn't end well for him. But he definitely is more of a system quarterback. Like
Yeah.
You can just have him make the throws you want him to make.
Which I
He
think
can do it,
I
but-
think Sean wants that, honestly.
Yeah.
But the other part, man, I remember that even just this playoff run for him, like that Alabama game, the first play of the game, Alabama had a pick on the 20-yard line and the dude just stepped out of bounds. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my goodness, like my 8-year-old son would have made a smarter read than that. And so you saw, and I think that was a first down throw. And he was like, I'm not used to this. So I guess like as we're trying to, Sean Payton didn't believe in him. And the fact that he fell this far and no one else was trading up for him, and that all the mocks that had him, people were saying that, it felt very Will Levisy to me, that people were saying he might be the second pick. The Commanders might want him. Oh, he's more of a Patriots guy than Drake May. Like, he fell this far for a reason. And Sean Payton, if he was his guy, would have gone and gotten him. So I think I'm going to keep drinking that Kool-Aid and just believe that he wasn't our top quarterback on that board, or we would have done it. I mean, you heard George Payton and Sean Payton say, if there's a guy we know is a hit, we'll do whatever it takes to get him. And so a 4th and a 5th, and then get back a 6. So basically it's like a 4 point, it's like a 4.5. I don't know. Like, that's way, way, way less. All right. So obviously this pick right now for the New York Jets, going to be huge. They're not going to take a quarterback. Like, they have to win with Rodgers. He's played 9 seconds for the Jets. They staked their entire like football identity on him. He was the picture of their uniform release. He was the star of Hard Knocks. And so their identity is in him. What do you envision the New York Jets doing right here?
Well, you got to imagine they're going to try to help him out. So, and I think this is too high for a receiver. So I'd imagine either Brock Bowers, or this is a good offensive tackle class. So maybe they roll the dice on one of these OTs out of Oregon State or Washington State.
All right, here we go. Huge pick right here with the 11th pick in the overall NFL draft. The New York Jets select
Olu Fashanu.
That is great news for the Denver Broncos, an offensive tackle from Penn State. Guys, this is setting up perfect right now for the Denver Broncos with JJ off. I was worried there that Brock Bowers was going off. But obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to like having this support here. But I think this is nice for the Broncos because we still not have a defensive player off the board.
Yeah.
So
still nobody off.
Truly,
defense.
The Denver Broncos could go get the best defensive player in the draft right now, or they could get the best tight end in the draft, a generational talent. We know how much Sean Payton likes his tight ends, like that Jimmy Graham, Jeremy Shockey, like he's had Watson, like he's always succeeded with that. He talked about the Joker role for the, that he had all that time with the New Orleans Saints, and we didn't have that with Dulcich. So if Dulcich comes back healthy and then we have Brock Bowers, our 2 tight end sets are going to be nasty. So at 12 right now, what does everybody want to do? I got to hear what do we want to do right now? Do we trade back? Do we trade up? Do we pick right now? Do we get the best? Like, guys, we could get the best defensive player in the entire NFL draft. Like, that's kind of crazy. The pick is in. This is happening fast, man.
Yeah, no trade down.
Okay.
I'm team Bowers for you guys.
Okay.
Take Bowers, trade up into the end of the first, and take Nix.
Yep.
That's what team I'm on.
Okay. Okay. So the pick is in, so that means it wasn't traded, right? Wow, this is crazy. I'm gonna crack open another LaCroix. Hey, can we go to standing, man? I can't sit for this. I'm just too hyped.
Stand.
Okay, here we go. Let's stand up. Whoa, man. All right. Oh man, what is gonna happen? Can you check Twitter and see there's no trade rumors, and don't tell me who it is. Oh man, I do not I would love to end with Nix, but getting him here is a real stretch, you guys. Just because I think he's gonna I don't think he's a Vegas Raider type player. No trades, right?
No trades. Yeah,
Man, I was truly thinking we were trading back. If you had told me JJ was off the board, I would have guessed that the Denver Broncos were going to trade back, but we kind of cool that like we can trust what Sean Payton and George Payton said is like they said we're going to get a good player at 12. I wouldn't have believed that you could get the best player on defense right here. And we remember like Bradley Chubb picking him over Josh Allen. We remember Surtain over Justin Fields. So we've seen a history of like avoiding making a mistake at quarterback. I mean, good point here. Like you could see the Raiders taking Nix just to like make us angry. So like as I look at the biggest needs for this Denver Broncos team at edge rusher, I feel like we have an absolute platoon of dudes who can succeed. I think Benito, huge upside. Drew Sanders out of Arkansas, huge upside at edge. And then Baron Browning is, people compare him to Von Miller. He's got a bend that is crazy, man. And I think that would be a really good fit. Like if you could have the best edge rusher in the entire draft like that, you can't get that at 12 usually. Like when was the last time the best defensive player was still there at 12? Like this is good.
Yeah, I have not officially seen the stats, but I would imagine this is the first time there's never been a defensive player picked in the top 10.
Yeah. And like that, it's like, I know obviously college teams are prioritizing offense and all that kind of stuff. The league's changing, but we still look like, why were the San Francisco 49ers in it with Brock Bauer or with Brock Purdy? It was because that defense was sick. Why did the Chiefs succeed and make it to the Super Bowl with the worst receiving core Patrick Mahomes has ever had? It's because their defense came on and was sick. So in the NFL, like we haven't had the NFL change like NBA basketball. Steph Curry changed the game, but in the NFL, defense still is king. And so we could get the best defensive player right now. I definitely would not have. I would not have guessed that. I think my official pick is going to be Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers, okay. How's your D? Do you have good D tackles?
I mean, we went out and got some depth there. I mean, we got DJ Jones, Zach Allen, high upside dude. People were saying is going to be like a little mini JJ Watt kind of. Vance Joseph liked him. We got one of the highest rated pass stuffers there, but yeah, I could see defensive tackle being a need as well. I guess if like there's that guy you're saying is like Aaron Donald-esque, right? That they're saying.
Yeah. So there was a lot of smoke about Byron Murphy to the Bears, and I really didn't want it and had to talk myself into it. And the more I read about him, it's like, it's not the sexy pick to take a D tackle that early, but if like he becomes the next Donald or even like a Dexter Lawrence or Chris Jones, I think any team
look at what Chris Jones
that.
was. Yeah, look at what Chris Jones was for that Kansas City Chiefs team like that. And the devil's advocate to that would be like Chris Jones was what 32nd pick or something like that. So, oh man, this has been a long time that the pick is on the board.
Making us sweat this one out.
Literally sweating it out. All right, we get a cut to the Broncos war room. Sean Payton on point. He's got a high and tight, very high, very tight. They look like a little dejected, man. But then I see some smiles. Like look at George Payton. He doesn't look like pumped.
Yeah,
but sometimes that can also be like, hey, we crushed it when you didn't.
Yeah, and it could just be like awkwardness being on camera when you don't really want to be.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're at right now, right?
Yeah,
just the awkwardness of being on camera. Oh my goodness! Wow, Goodell is walking across. Here it is. What all the hype has been about. The 12th pick, the Denver Broncos select Bo Nix. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Bo Nix.
Wow. The Denver Broncos have their quarterback of the future. The Denver Broncos have selected Bo Nix with the 12th overall pick in the NFL draft. Man. I feel like that's high to pick at 12, but he's Sean Payton's guy. That was, he did a Zoom call with him. He kind of did like an undercover thing where he went out to Eugene, Oregon, and it was kind of trying to fly under the radar. The player that he gushed the most about was JJ McCarthy, and a lot of people were saying that was all smoke, right? That he was trying to make people think we wanted JJ when really all along he wanted Bo Nix. Bo Nix being a coach's son, he is all about processing, all about like moving the ball around the field. I think if you look at Drew Brees, that's what he did too. A lot of Bo Nix's completions were right around like the line of scrimmage and just like moving that point of attack. And that was something really missing from the Denver Broncos offense. That's why Sean Payton didn't like Russell Wilson. Bo Nix can move the ball into the middle of the field, and that Bo Nix is the quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
How about that?
Wow. Man. So obviously, Sean Payton didn't think Bo Nix. Yeah, that button moves us up. I'm not.
My fault.
There's like Bo Nix's size here. Yeah, this is down. So obviously Sean Payton was worried here that Bo Nix wouldn't fall to him if he traded back, or the compensation for trade back just didn't warrant that, right? I think Brock Bowers, while he might seem like a generational tight end, tight ends take a couple of years to develop. Typically, obviously the Detroit Lions tight end was different and hit right away. But I think you look with Kyle Pitts, Sean Payton doesn't have time to turn this thing around. We need a mature guy who can step up and win right away. And I think that is Bo Nix. Let's go back to sitting. Love to hear, how are y'all feeling about Bo Nix being the next quarterback for the Denver Broncos?
As impartial third party, I love it for you guys. I think he, you never want to make too lofty of comparisons, but he really does seem like a Drew Brees with just the way he's like, he's not going to do anything super flashy, but he's just going to get the ball out immediately into the playmaker's hands that you need. He really does seem like the perfect fit for Sean Payton. It's 77% completion percentage last year.
Wow.
That's crazy. And I know Oregon was very talented, but like, I think they'll have one receiver go probably in the second round. Like, he didn't have the supporting cast that Penix had, that some of these other
Jaden Daniels for sure.
Yeah,
he didn't have that.
Daniels
totally
for sure.
Wow. All right. Seeing all right. So yeah, I mean, some of the interesting like devil's advocate would be like Zach Wilson is younger than Bo Nix. He is older. We're seeing a lot of people saying they love it. Stoked. He's Sean Payton's guy. We have to trust that. And I'll keep falling back on that and saying like Sean Payton has not let us down. The Las Vegas Raiders pick is in. This is going to be dumb. They're going to get a guy who's going to drag race, I'm sure. Let's see who this is. Wow.
Brock
okay.
Bowers.
So the Las Vegas Raiders select tight end Brock Bowers from Georgia. Man, and I think they'll ruin him. Obviously, they had Waller. We know that like historically that team has had good tight ends. I think we'll be fine stopping that, and I'm not worried about it. Like who's thrown to him? Gardner Minshew, like with his mustache. I think this shapes up well for us, and yeah, I think the devil's advocate part would be like rookie tight ends take a long time to develop. Bo Nix is gonna ball out in Denver with Sean Payton. Gotta believe it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta believe it.
And I mean, Brock Bowers is crazy good, but I still think this is a victory for the Broncos here. Like I think there was a lot of fear that they were going to have a rookie QB to compete with Bo Nix. And the last thing you want is for one of your division rivals to get their franchise guy, and they didn't even take a shot at one.
Right. Or, I mean, also you heard people say that the Raiders were going to try to get Michael Penix Jr. I'm thrilled they didn't end up with him. And yeah, truly, I think people are saying that Brock Bowers is like a mini Gronkowski, but he's a lot smaller, right? Like, isn't he only 6'3"? And I just think like, the mismatch that he had in college football, he's not going to have. Like, everyone's faster in the NFL. So like that speed isn't going to be there. Is he going to be like strong enough to truly block an NFL linebacker when he's the same size. Like 6'3". You look at Gronkowski was just a behemoth of a man. Like how much?
Yeah, he's definitely gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if they line him up at receiver sometimes. Like
Yeah.
he's not one of these guys that you can throw at tight end and like truly have no idea. Like because some of these guys, like they can be a sixth offensive lineman. They're that big and strong.
Yeah.
And Gronk was one of those guys, or they can be one of your elite receivers. He can be one of your elite receivers. And I'm not going to say he's a bad blocker, but he's definitely not as versatile as Gronk is.
No way. And you throw him at receiver. Okay. Good luck with you stopping. Like Pat Surtain is going to eat your lunch, man. I just don't think that he won't have the speed when he's going against a corner. And we know the NFL is like giving more of the leeway to the defensive or to the offensive player, and there's a lot of pushing off that Gronkowski got away with. So I guess you could see like that being a really frustrating thing for us for years to come, that a corner could keep up with him, but he's getting manhandled by this bigger, stronger dude. But I like a cornerback lining up on him. And I also just think like in our victories against, on that 5-game win streak, we shut down the tight end like we hadn't in a long time, and shut down Travis Kelce for our first win against the Chiefs in a long, long time. And so, yeah, I think this is a win. True. Like if you told me like I wanted to leave this first round with a quarterback and we got him, I wanted that to be JJ, but at the end of the day, I'm just a dude in my basement, and I trust Sean Payton's ability to evaluate quarterbacks more. And I think he saw Bo Nix as better than JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I think you have to feel like if a team like the Vikings had given up multiple firsts to go up to number 4 or 5, I think you have to have that fear that maybe the Broncos thought he was better and just didn't have the draft capital to do it. But I think you can feel comfortable knowing like Peyton wanted Nix. He could have had McCarthy. He didn't go for him. Yep. He wanted Nix.
Totally, man. Could you go get my special guest out of the green room for us?
Yeah.
All right. So he is playing Madden, not watching the draft. So we'll announce to an NFL insider. He was on for the first time reacting to the Denver Broncos' first ever victory against the Kansas City Chiefs in his lifetime. And that's my son. I'm going to break the news to him and see what he thinks about who we drafted at quarterback, and if he is excited about that. So, yeah, we just got to, I think this here of like, can't believe it was a smoke screen. I think like Sean Payton is like playing checkers while everyone else is playing chess. And I think we all probably should have read into the gushing and glowing he did about JJ as like, he's trying to throw us off the scent, and that JJ was never his guy. You even almost saw that like a little like inside stuff there where George Payton said, "Oh, I'm so glad that Sean leaked that we really like JJ. Now the whole world knows." Like obviously he didn't really feel that. All right, my main man, my best friend in the house. All right, the Denver Broncos, my man, selected our new quarterback is Nix is the fix. Bo knows football. Bo Nix is our quarterback. How you feeling?
Psyched.
Yeah, man. You want to see what he looks like and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
This
sure.
dude is a beast, one of the better college quarterbacks. So he threw, like, if you threw the ball 10 times, he completed 7 of them last year. He had a 77% completion rate, and just like an absolute beast of a dude. Very, very accurate with the football. And I'm very, very excited. You will be the Denver Broncos quarterback in like 10 years, and you'll kind of step in right for Bo Nix. How does that sound? All right, can you look right here and just be like, Nix is the fix?
Nix is the fix.
Love it, man. And then you gotta sync a shot for us on camera.
Okay, I'll try.
All right, let's see what he's got. All right, my man. The bummer is like, I call my son JJ because that's like his initials, and so it would have been cool to have JJ, but we do have a Bo in the family. All right, well, thanks for stopping by, man. Let's go. Bo knows football. The cool part is like my prediction, another hot take here, Paul, is that in the next 10 years, the most popular name in the entire state of Colorado, if you're having a son, is going to be Bo.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Bo.
So I have a nephew named Bo, and like it was kind of like for for Boulder. Like, it's kind of like a short thing for Boulder. I think it's gonna be a great fit. And like now that the shock of it has worn out, I'm feeling awesome. Oh my goodness. All right, we're staying all night. We're doing a sleepover. We just had somebody super chat us $50, man. You know what I'm doing with that $50? I'm buying myself a Bo Nix jersey. I'm gonna go on and like order it the second this stream is over. So seriously, man, like massive shout out. You didn't have to do that, and that means a ton to me. So thank you for doing that. And I think I gotta change my call sign now. I ended every video like swishing a shot and saying Broncos country, let's ride when we had Russell Wilson. And then I changed it to giddy up because it was like Broncos, let's giddy up. I got to somehow incorporate like Bo, like Nix is the fix, or like the other cool thing is like Bo Knows Football was a famous campaign for Nike for Bo Jackson. It was like Bo Knows Sports and stuff. So like I could see that being like a sick Broncos shirt. So, but yeah, man, massive thank you, HexFix93. That's amazing, man. Yeah, people are saying they still really like JJ. People saying we want that kid. All right, someday for sure. The man, very cool. Yeah, so a lot of us did see this coming. I think, like I didn't I say in our live prediction that I thought the Denver Broncos ended up getting Bo Nix.
Yeah, I believe he did.
But I just envisioned that with the 20th pick. Yeah, let's get the hype train going for sure. Man, dude, honestly, tight end with all the holes we have, like this was a really good pick.
You know what I'm curious to see is this is such a deep receiver class. Do we think the Broncos have a receiver that's the guy that they'd be willing to move up late first, early second for? That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I also feel good about our receivers. We'll talk about that in a second, but I think we're in a good spot there. Wow, we still do not have a defensive player off the board. This is crazy. So with the 14th pick in the NFL draft, Sean Payton's former team that he led to glory have picked Oregon State tackle Talisi Fuaga. So, I mean, I think that's, crazy. There's just so much talent like falling. Like this is so crazy. Oof. Yeah, so ESPN's pro comp of Bo Nix was Dak Prescott, which is interesting because it sounds like Dak Prescott will be a free agent next year, and you're going to have to pay him like $60-70 million. So the nice part about Bo Nix is like if that is his pro comp, we got him on a rookie minimum now for 5 years. I really think that Sean Payton thinks that he can win right now with Bo Nix. And man, if you had told me, I think the hype train, like starting this, if you told me like the low point for Broncos football in my lifetime was that Nathaniel Hackett season. And if you had told me like, hey, in just 2 short years, you'll be back to 500, you'll beat the Chiefs, you'll go into Buffalo on a Monday night game, you'll win, you'll beat the best defenses in football, beating the Vikings, hot team, and then you're going to end up with the most accurate college football quarterback in the league in college football, and then not take a step back on any place and get off the Russell Wilson contract. I would be pretty thrilled, man. Like I really am very, very high on this team.
Future's bright.
The official over under for the Broncos next year is 5 wins, and I there is no way that Bo Nix can't get us 5 wins, right?
That sounds like pretty easy money.
Yeah.
And I like HexFix. We didn't sell the farm for a QB. That's what's huge is you didn't have to give up anything. You stayed where you were and got your guy. That's massive.
Yep. 100%. Yeah, I think the shock of the draft so far is definitely Michael Penix going to Atlanta, right? Like no one saw that. And I think the other shock is everyone was talking about all the trades that were going to come, and we got one very small trade of a team moving up 1 spot. And it didn't cost what everyone was saying it was going to cost. So that's crazy. I think I'm totally there as well, that like where we're at right now, we got to have Courtland Sutton because Bo Nix is older. He's in that same situation where he's 24. And so you want to put him in a good situation. We really do have one of the best offensive lines in the game. That's not me just saying that. That's Pro Football Focus. And we got Garrett Bowles for another year. We got Meinertz, who's going to command a massive contract. And so I think we're set up to be really successful. Javonte Williams is coming back off of a catastrophic knee injury that would have, ended his career 15, 20 years ago, but modern medicine is advanced. And so he's going to be up. And I think Sean Payton's going to really be able to implement the offense that he has wanted to. Absolutely. Bright Fame Beats. Can't believe that we don't have a defensive player here. Man. What are your predictions? We got the Colts on the board. Got about 3 minutes left. They made the playoffs with Gardner, lost him. They got what's his name from Florida coming back from injury, right?
Anthony Richardson.
So
got to be defense here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they could use a receiver, but it seems a little high for one of the other receivers, but with no defensive players off the board.
Yeah, but they just paid Michael Pittman Jr. like a ton of money, and I don't think I'd take Cortland Sutton over him, right? And so I think
who's their number 2 guy?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Alec Pierce. They could definitely use a number 2 guy, but
any chance Andrew Luck comes back?
Doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
Okay.
But
yeah, who knows? Yeah, what do you think quarterback room? A great question, B Sharp 11. What do you think the quarterback room with Zach Wilson and Bo Nix is like?
I mean, I wonder if Zach Wilson can kind of be like a mentor in some ways, like hey, look, I know what not to do as a rookie QB. Like, I really messed up doing this and this and this.
Are you talking about off the field stuff with like his mom's friends and stuff?
Yeah,
talk about that for a little bit.
Please, Bo Nix, do not fool around with your mom's friends. Like, that doesn't end well.
Yeah.
But no,
unless they're attractive.
Yeah. What's the line there?
My mom. What do you think about my mom? Is she attractive?
I think your mother is a beautiful and lovely woman.
Thanks. She's definitely one of the viewers, I'm sure. Out in Westminster right now.
But maybe it's just like they can challenge each other. I'm sure Zach Wilson is not ready to say I'm a career backup at this point. He wants to be a starter. Maybe they can like push each other and make each other better, be like a good friendly competition. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have talent in your QB room.
Yeah. So you asked about like, could the Broncos trade back into the first round for a wide receiver? It wasn't that long ago that the Broncos had the highest paid receiver room in the league because we had Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, and Sutton. And when George Payton made those signings, everyone was like, oh, he's brilliant. Look at, like, he got all these dudes under. And then Tim Patrick, catastrophic injury, first day of training camp. Jerry Jeudy, absolute diva. If he did not get the ball when he was open, he gave up the rest of the game. He got in fights with commentators on the sideline. And so we replaced him and picked up picks with Josh Reynolds. And I know he had key drops in that NFC Championship game, but you played against him. Like, Josh Reynolds is very good.
Solid. Yeah. He's just one of those guys who, like, you're never going to, most people don't even like draft him in fantasy. You don't hear about him a lot, but he's like just a good 4 or 5 catches every game kind of guy. He's solid.
And then the big thing is we have a difference maker, a speedster. We got a joker in Mims, and he made the Pro Bowl as a returner. And like when he had the ball in space, it was like you had a 99 speed on Madden, and it was just like, how am I supposed to stop that? Like Tyreek Hill-ish. And Sean Payton in his one of his combine press conferences said, well, the reason Mims didn't develop is because we had Jeudy, who we drafted with number 1, and we had to get him the ball. So I don't think we need a receiver. And if we can make this work with Cortland, I feel very, very good about it.
Hey, and speaking of kick returns, the new rules, you have a good kick returner.
Yes.
That is totally a legitimate weapon now again. So that should be fun.
100%. Yeah. So I cannot wait for NFL training camp. We're going to announce this pick, and we'll get to this in 1 second. So Colts here.
Latu, first defensive player off the board.
Man, I never in my wildest dreams would have guessed that it was at 15. That's just crazy, man. I mean, and the also crazy part about him was he was medically retired, right? He was the one who had the neck injury, and they're like, hey, we got to shut him down. And then he resurrected his career. But to me, that's almost like a Michael Penix thing where you're like, dude, if you had a neck injury, you don't mess with that. Like we saw Peyton Manning come back and like he literally couldn't feel the ball and had to teach himself again. And neck injuries aren't things that you just bounce back from in a physical league, in a physical position, you know?
Maybe you could like Manning hook him up with steroids or
Get out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Yeah. I used to call into the fan and do the fire ups. One of my favorite things on here is doing fire ups each week where I like kind of like smack talk the other team. And Paul is brilliant with some of the rhymes and helps me out. And my favorite one you ever wrote was we were playing the New England Patriots, and my line was, it was right after it came out that Manning had gone overseas and did some steroids. And it was like, Patriots are in town, but it doesn't even matter because Peyton Manning's juiced up like a 90s baseball batter. So that was good work on your part there.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think this is a reach for the Colts to take a guy with that injury history. Like obviously with the Nuggets, you had Michael Porter Jr. really fall to you because of his back injury that people said he wouldn't come back from. But like basketball is different. You're not like in a car accident on the line every day in that position. And so it'll be interesting to see if he holds up.
Yeah, you got to feel good. I don't think he missed a single game the last 2 seasons. So that's got to make you feel a little better. But definitely anytime you see him down, you're going to be freaking out his entire career.
Yep. So I think one of the interesting things, seen a lot of comments on here about NFL training camp. Like I said, I grew up in Denver, went to training camp every year, like when it was on the hill, when it wasn't on the hill, and definitely hope to be back and watching it there with a lot of you this summer. But one of the interesting things will be the Broncos have the richest ownership in sports, which is another reason to be high on this team, that you can put money into positions that don't exist, like hiring scouts, stealing the guy from the Saints we did, and really like decking out your practice facility. So there's a major overhaul at UC Health Training Center. And I've seen tons of rumors that they might not have it open for camp this summer. I think that would be a huge letdown for the Broncos, and just the way that the Walton Penner family has done things right. I'm sure they'll find a way to like let us go see the quarterback of the future, right? Like, so it'll be interesting to see, are they just going to do a couple stadium practices, or will it hopefully be at UC Health Training Center on the hill? Because that's one of the coolest things in sports is watching the Broncos there. I'll definitely be doing a video on that as I hear more about that for sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot of edge rushers still falling here. Yeah, I think getting a second round pick is important for us as well. Yeah, if we don't get a second round pick, tomorrow's going to be pretty boring.
Oh, I didn't realize they don't have a second round pick.
Nope. So we gave the New Orleans Saints a first, which was last year, and then a second round pick for Sean Payton.
Okay.
And actually one of our first the first we gave them last year was the first that we acquired from the Dolphins for the like Bradley Chubb. Yep. So that wasn't that big of a deal. And man, truly like the difference between like, you look at the NBA and it's all about like the talent you have. And if you have Steph Curry, you're going to be in every game. The NFL is a coaching league, and that is a distinct competitive advantage that we have, that I think Sean Payton is worth every bit of that first and the second round pick. Like you saw the difference last year, even with a Russell Wilson who didn't fit his system. We were 3 games better. We were in the playoff hunt. We were on the goal line with 4 shots at beating the Texans, and we would have been in the playoffs. We had the nightmare before Christmas and lost to the New England Patriots. One of the most gut-wrenching losses in my Broncos fandom. Was like, I believed all the hype, and that changed everything. Like we saw the Lions game, Sean Payton just rat out and just have at Russell Wilson, and you can't run my system. This is frustrating, and put in Stidham. So, yeah. So right now the Denver Broncos have Zach Wilson, Ben DiNucci, a UFL star, and obviously Jarrett Stidham. So we have 4 guys, and now Bo Nix. So it'll be very interesting to see. Will we try to hope that DiNucci gets to the practice squad? We're also paying a ton of money for Jarrett Stidham, and a lot of people think that Sean Payton making that move for Stidham was to kind of have hedge against Russell Wilson flaming out like he did. And so now is that not needed? If you had that quarterback room, what do you think the Broncos do with that?
I think you go to camp, and I think the key one is going to be Zach Wilson. Obviously, Bo Nix is going to be around. But, like, to me, if Zach Wilson comes to camp and he just looks like garbage, then I think you get rid of him. You keep Jarrett Stidham, the reliable veteran QB. But if Zach Wilson goes there and he balls out and he looks like he can be competitive and he and Nix can compete against each other, then, yeah, I think you keep him there and potentially just save yourself the cap space and get rid of Stidham.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we could save $5 million in cap space by moving on from Jarrett Stidham. All right, so who do we have? Who do we have on the board now? So we just had the Colts pick up the first defensive player ever, or in this draft, which has to be the latest we've ever had.
Yeah, it has to be. I think the Seahawks are next, right?
Okay. I mean, a lot of people actually were saying that Bo Nix was a landing spot for the Seahawks, and were we trying to, man. Wait, so Paul, you were right? There were 6.
Yeah, all 6 QBs in
Wow.
the top 12.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I was not predicting that whatsoever.
Was it 6 QBs, 3 receivers, 3 offensive tackles?
Yep. Man, I don't think we'll ever see that again.
Yeah.
But it seems like the quarterbacks are overhyped, all the time at that. Man, what a weird draft.
For sure.
So Spencer Rattler, like way too high for him, right? For the Seahawks, like that's the next.
I would think so. I mean, I think the Seahawks are definitely a team you could see taking a chance on a guy like Rattler, but it would be crazy. But I mean, it was crazy to see Penix go to the Falcons at 8. So who knows now?
Man, I would have never guessed that. I got to check in on the Denver Nuggets score as well real quick here. Oh, it hasn't even tipped yet. Tipping right now. I mean, I don't even need to check because we're kind of the Lakers daddy, so it's not even that Jamal Murray shot. Did you see that?
I was asleep, being honest. Yeah. But I saw it the next morning and it was incredible.
Yep. I got to totally admit, like prepping for this, I went to bed down 20 in the third, just because I was exhausted. I'm on Eastern time and I was like, I can't stay up. And I woke up and totally regretted it because and it wasn't like I went to bed like giving up on them. I was just like, man, I'm exhausted. We'll probably lose this. I still thought we'd win the series. Now I'm like feeling great. All right, Seahawks, because of them beating us in the Super Bowl, because of Russell Wilson, I cannot stand the Seahawks, but obviously they're changing culture. They got Geno. What do you think they're going to pick right here, Paul?
I think their new head coach is a defensive guy. So he was the Ravens defensive coordinator, right? So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go defense right here. Certainly not receiver. They have great receivers. Definitely not running back. Seems high for Rattler. So and they're pretty lucky to see like Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, these guys fall all the way to 16.
Yeah.
So
I did see a mock that had Jared Verse like going like 22.
Okay.
But
the most Dallas Turner predictions were top
were
12,
8, dude.
Least.
Like I saw,
8. And I wouldn't. They signed your old D tackle, right?
Like a lot. You mean Shelby Harris or
no? Not Shelby Harris. Who was the? He was 2022, I think, was your D tackle. They signed him.
Let's do a little. Anyone in the chat? No. Draymond Jones.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we had out of
Ohio State. I remember I wanted the Bears to sign him, and he went to the sea. So I wouldn't think they'd go for Byron Murphy here, but.
Oh my dude, Justin Brent. I feel like that is an amazing pick right there. Like if you were to see Jokic, Nikola at a Walmart, you'd be like, that guy doesn't ball, and he's literally the best center in the history of the NBA. And on paper, he doesn't hop out, but he puts the ball in the right spot and sees the court, and the ball is always faster than the player. And so, man, that is dang, dude. If Knicks can be the Broncos, Jokic, that's a great, great take. And that's what we got to hope for, that it's not about how strong your arm is. Like I guarantee you most centers in the league can jump higher, have more explosion than Jokic, and he's the best player in the NBA right now. And he's who you want to build your franchise around. And he makes everyone else better because of how he spreads the ball out. And I think that's exactly what we can have in Bo Nix.
Yeah, and apparently I was just completely wrong because the Seahawks did take Byron Murphy.
Wow.
So,
and that's so, talk to me about him. You thought that could be a landing spot for the Broncos, like, and maybe for the Bears at 9. What do you think about Byron Murphy?
So I did try to talk myself into him because there was a lot of smoke about him to the Bears. So I was pretty positive on him. But one of my biggest memories of him, like really my only college memory was I remember leading up to the playoffs, there was a lot of talk like Penix has not faced D tackles like they have at Texas, because they not only do they have Murphy, they have Tavondre Sweat, who's going to be a second round pick probably, but the talk was like he is not, like their team is not equipped to handle tackles like this. He's going to be on his back all day. They're going to lose. And then he was completely irrelevant the whole game. Penix had all the time in the world. So I was super unimpressed by them in the playoffs. And I don't even know that Washington has interior O linemen that are projected to go that high. So I was definitely going to be bummed if he went to the Bears. I was trying to talk myself into it, but that was my only college memory of him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Denver Broncos have loaded up on Texas defenders with multiple safeties from there. PJ Locke, I just love him out of there. Did the Vikings just trade up? They weren't at 17, right?
Oh, yeah, they were at 23.
So Vikings making moves, man. And I think that can be like, that can be you're like smarter than everyone and like me wheeling and dealing, or that can be just like dumb and it can burn you. And I think more times than not, trading up for a quarterback doesn't work. There have been multiple people who've like proven that fact, that like trading up for a quarterback usually does not work. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes breaks that mold. Wet lettuce, massive shout out to wet lettuce. I love a lot of things in this life, but nothing as much as chowing down on some wet lettuce. Do something. Okay. What do you want? Okay. This is starting to feel a little bit like OnlyFans or something. I don't know. Okay. Let's all right.
Give us a suggestion.
No, I don't want a suggestion from wet lettuce. All right. So what? Yeah,
why is it saying Jaguars pick is in now? Whose pick is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it is the Vikings.
All right. What is your guess here?
Gosh, they're probably gonna take Dallas Turner, replace Daniil Hunter. Man, how did?
Whoa.
Yeah, it was Dallas Turner.
Man,
as a Bears fan, this just kills me. Like he was supposed to be a top 10 pick.
Man,
and I was pretty excited to have Daniil Hunter out of the division, but they saw Caleb go to the Bears, and they're like, we gotta
load up and get JJ, and then that's gonna be, man, that NFC North is going to be nasty, man. Like, which is crazy because I feel like you and I have been friends for so long, and how long was that division just hot garbage? And
Bears and Lions have been horrible for years.
And so now you got Caleb Williams, you got JJ McCarthy, you got Jared Goff, and obviously you got Love. And
I hated it, but Love actually was really good last year. I didn't think he was going to be.
Yeah. Wow. Yep. Ooh. The more I'm processing this, I'm feeling good about Knicks. I really am. And I know like you feeling good about it as a unbiased person is really.
Yeah, I think I told you guys on like our mock draft, I liked Knicks more than I liked Penix, and honestly more than I liked Drake May. I mean, I did say I was a JJ McCarthy guy, but I have some bias there. But I said all along, I think Knicks in the right spot can be great, and I definitely think the Broncos are the right spot.
Yeah. Yeah. So Gooey Panda, great name. Nothing I like more than wet lettuce and gooey pandas. Now that so many of these defensive players, I think we'll probably see a run right now. Uh, but I think corner is a position that you can come in as a rookie and just ball out. Like we saw McMillian this year do it. But I also feel really high on Riley Moss. We picked him last year in the 3rd round. Everyone I know who likes Iowa said like he is nasty. He had an injury in the preseason, so he missed the entire preseason and then the first couple games. And they just talked about how like devastating that is for a development guy to learn. And then he came on in special teams and balled out of control. He has one of the highest RAS scores in all of college football history at that position. I think he's like a 94 RAS score. So I think he's going to be a developmental guy and could be a great compliment to Pat Surtain. But I see so many corners now falling, and it's making me just thrilled that we didn't pick, that corner out of, Alabama or Tulane. Like Kool-Aid was rumored there. Terrion Arnold was rumored there at 12. And, they're both still on the board here at 18. So you got to think that at least a first round corner is going to be in the second. And we do not have a second round pick, but second round picks are a lot easier to get than first round ones. And so if Sean Payton has a guy, the other thing we have to just be super, super stoked about, you guys, is George Payton made horrible free agent decisions with Russell Wilson, horrible free agent decision with Nathaniel Hackett, giving dudes the bag who didn't deserve it and all that kind of stuff. But he finds talent in the draft and he grinds film like no other. And I think we saw that with the only draft he had this many picks in. It's like banger after banger with Meinerz, with Cooper, with Pat Surtain. And so I feel good about the rest of this, and that I just trust us to find guys. So who do we just had Cincinnati. This guy already requested a trade, right? The Cincinnati guy. That was a joke because everyone in Cincinnati is like requesting trades. Who did they go with the 18th pick in the NFL draft? Cincinnati Bengals select.
They haven't picked yet.
Oh,
I think
it was just like
they're just showing Dallas Turner to the Vikings.
Okay.
Again. We still got 3 minutes.
Okay, cool. Well, it is cool to see, like, man, all of Cincinnati's falling apart, man. Like Higgins wants out, Hendricks wants out. They got to pay a bunch of guys, and
I don't think they have the money to do it.
No.
Burrow's got a crazy contract, and they're going to give Chase
the bag.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what did Amon-Ra get?
Oh,
$28 million a year.
Yeah.
This year, Chase is probably going $35 million. I think they're going to have like half their cap going to 2 guys.
Yeah, great question. So, Peyton Manning came out and just said that he knows the Broncos like JJ McCarthy and JJ would like to be there. I totally could see that being like, we know Peyton has moved his house to Denver. He does the Manning cast from his basement in Denver. Same production quality that we have here with my brother Eli and my huge forehead. But we know Peyton is a Bronco when he like goes places. That's the Super Bowl ring he wears. And so you would see him wanting to help Sean Payton in that. So I honestly don't think it's that crazy to think that was trying to bait him. He was courtside for the Nuggets game the other night, even though his wife is part owner of the Grizzlies. Like, he is a Denver guy, which is incredible to me. Like,
the fact that he spent like 15
most
plus
career,
years in
right.
Indianapolis and he sees himself as a Bronco, that shows a lot about the Broncos organization.
100%, man. And that's, again, Paul, completely unbiased on there and doesn't want it to be true, probably. Yeah, a lot of people were saying that JJ was going to be a bust. So
he definitely has some big red flags. I mean, I remember the Penn State game this year. Part of me thinks it was just because they wanted to send a message with the whole cheating scandal, like we can run any play you want and you still can't stop it. But he literally did not throw a pass in the second half, and it did feel almost like a fear, like we know our defense isn't going to give up points, and we don't really trust you to put a bunch more on the board. So we're just going to run out the clock and let our defense do its thing. It definitely, there was a little bit of a vibe to that. So it's tough to know with him.
Well, and so truly, like, he is a winner and has won everywhere he's been. But do you think the cheating scandal at all, like, if you know what the defense is going to be in I'm not trying to make you bash Michigan, but like that is an advantage to a quarterback that he won't have in the NFL unless he's playing for Belichick, right? So like at least some of those wins you gotta, right?
And I think the fact that the whole thing came out and it all came after they played their easy portion of the schedule. And then they played their Penn States, Ohio States, their Bamas, their Washington. They looked the exact same in all of those games with all those teams knowing what was going on as they did before then. And I've said several times I'm definitely biased, but I don't think that's really a factor in it.
Yeah. There's a weird thing on YouTube, like, because I am totally new to YouTube, but people do like what is it called? AM something, like you just like listen to weird stuff. So just this episode is sponsored by
Oh yeah,
LaCroix.
the ASMR, is that what it is?
Yeah. Is it like a Nicki Minaj thing?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I'm in schools too, and all the time kids will be like, "Hey, will you play one of these at the end of the day?" And it's always
they're creepy.
Yeah, they
dude.
creep me out.
I do not understand.
I don't get them.
But I hope, especially wet lettuce, like that one. We should get some wet lettuce for the studio.
We should, yeah.
What do you guys think?
You can never have enough wet lettuce in your life.
Yeah. Like Nate, great comment. Paul, you're forever your college insider. Truly, like when I was thinking of, I don't watch a ton of college football. I watched every CU game this year, but Paul watches more college football than anyone I know. So I love having his takes on
Thank
here.
you,
And
Nate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be on here and happy to continue to watch college football for this channel.
Yeah, he does.
I'm willing to make that sacrifice.
He does everything for this family. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see the quarterback has great question. What number does Bo Nix what number does Bo Nix take? Quarterback has to wear numbers 1 through 19 unless they're all taken. And I think 16 is the only number not claimed. Now, obviously, as a quarterback, you can flex in and get a number you want, but 16 is the only one available.
All right, Bengals are picking Amarius Mims, offensive tackle from Georgia.
So you heard a lot of people say that there's going to be trade ups for tackles and that this is a really, really deep tackle class. And so, yeah, you see the Bengals want to protect Joe Burrow, which is a good thing. And, obviously tackle can become a position that just eats up so much of your calories, your salary cap. And we just heard from Paul about like how much they're dumping on Jamar Chase, and you can't afford to have the highest paid quarterback, the highest paid receiver, the highest paid left and right tackle. And so this kind of locks them in there with that. What do you think about this pick for another Georgia boy for off the board?
I feel like a lot of people are projecting him as like late first, early second. It kind of seems like a bit of a reach for him, but as has been said many times, this is a very deep tackle class. I think there's going to be a lot of these guys who are pretty solid.
Yeah, let's pull up kind of what draft boards had him at here and be very curious, because that, not watching as much college football as Paul, did not know much about him. So yeah, if you look at offensive linemen and their grades here, we had Fashanu off the board, Joe Alt off the board, Fontenot off, Latham off. So yeah, they had him as a 20th ranked player. So yeah, for them to pick him right at 18 seems like a good pick. So we got the Rams on the board. So the Rams have obviously the Brad Stafford trade for Jared Goff. They won a Super Bowl with Von Miller. Donald is gone. They had tremendous value out of Puka Nacua. I have a video coming out, like just kind of going through who might the future Puka be. But who do you envision the Rams going with here?
Well, they're interesting because there was rumors at the beginning of the night that they were trying to trade into the top 10. Yeah. So I'm not sure who that was for. I had wondered if they would be an offensive tackle spot, but I don't know how many of those are left at this point. Maybe they want a new D lineman to replace Aaron Donald. I don't know that there's another D tackle that's projected this high. I'd thought about them as a Bowers or maybe even one of these contending teams with an older QB who wants to take a swing at one of these guys, but all of them are off the board.
Too high for a receiver, right? And they got
Well,
Puka
a lot of people projected that Thomas out of LSU to go around this high, but I can't imagine with Kupp and Nakua that they'd go receiver.
Wow, I just saw this come across the wire. According to Adam Schefter, Wet Lettuce is back. So Wet Lettuce is back. So shout out Wet Lettuce. Thank you for being back. Yep. So now they're showing Mims. Yeah. How do you envision this division kind of playing out, Paul? Like you're looking, Cardinals are getting Kyler back, and they got Harrison. You got Seahawks have taken a massive step back. Is this still the 49ers division to lose? Is that loss for the Rams in Detroit kind of just the momentum of Detroit? Or are the Rams a contender?
I do think it's the 49ers division to lose for the foreseeable future. Although with the rumors of them trading up a receiver, who knows what Brock Purdy is going to be if he doesn't have all the weapons he had. And I think the Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals are all kind of potential playoff teams. Maybe not quite the Cardinals, but like you could definitely talk yourself into any one of them being a 10-win team.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the Seahawks do. Pete Carroll was just the heart and soul of that. And like, it was his system, like someone chatted a while back, like, rebuilds aren't done overnight. And I do think like switching systems is harder than people think. And I could see the Seahawks taking a pretty big step back here. So as I was just looking here, I need to buy myself a Bo Nix jersey. Obviously we're waiting for his number. My man, HexFix 93. Nix is the fix, but HexFix 93 is my guy. What color jersey should I buy for Bo Nix? Paul, what is your thought? What color jersey do I need to buy? What color jersey are y'all buying for Bo Nix?
And I don't think it's even a question. You got to get that Broncos throwback.
I kind of like sneaky like that dark blue one though, and I've never had like that color. Like I had an original Terrell Davis like that, and then the stripe just seemed really old, but I think I gotta go orange. I also just love the white. I've owned a ton of Broncos jerseys. I don't think I've ever owned a white one either, so now I kind of like want to get a white one. But I might throw that on a community post. What color is everyone gonna buy for the Knicks jersey? Purple.
Did you feel like? I hope I'm not stepping on any toes here, but
is this a Sandusky question?
No,
is this about Aaron Hernandez?
No.
Okay, you can ask it.
I felt like the mountains. I get the mountains.
No, you don't. If you haven't
looked like a Chargers lightning bolt to me.
No,
and
it doesn't
like that.
No, it's the jawline of the Bronco. And like, if you haven't been there, like you don't get it, man. Like
I've been there. I went to your
house. You did when we had yeah, man. It's just like the mountains are different. Like anywhere, like you can be anywhere and have a gorgeous view. Like I was nowhere close to the mountains and had a beautiful view. All right, man. I think this is a great pick with the 19th pick in the NFL draft. The Los Angeles Rams select Jared Verse, edge rusher from Florida State. I think that is a great pick for them. I think they know they gotta rush the passer. They gotta have an answer for Brock Purdy. They gotta, Kittle's not gonna stop this dude on one side. And yeah, I think this is a great answer to slowing down Kyle Shanahan and that San Francisco offense.
Yeah, that's a good pick for him. I mean, he's fallen a little bit recently, but I feel like at the end of the college football season, a lot of people are talking about him as being top 5, number 1 defender off the board. And he's just kind of dropped. I don't know if he had a bad combine or what, but there was a long time people felt like he was going to be the number 1 defensive player.
Yeah, so a lot of big boards had him mid-20s there. But yes, you see the size there. Older guy, red shirt junior. I mean, he played 4 full years. combine numbers weren't horrible. If you look, his vertical jump wasn't great in his class there, but I do think that was a good pick. And, the thing with that staff is like, and you see it with the Puka pick there, that they know how to evaluate. And it's interesting that they don't really, if they don't see the value in a first round pick, they trade it. Like, how many years in a row did the Rams just give up first round draft picks because they didn't hit and they got Vaughn with it?
2016 their last? I want to say it was either 2016 or 18 is the last time they picked in the first round.
That's crazy, man. And it worked for them. They made the Super Bowl with it. It's interesting that I think the Browns are very similar, right? The Browns haven't had a first round draft pick in since the last time I went to the masseuse, Okay. That was a Deshaun Watson take, and I've actually never been to a masseuse, but Robert Kraft has.
I'm sitting there on Verse, 15th percentile for 3-cone drill. A lot of people say that's the most important drill at the combine for a defensive end. So maybe that's why he slipped. That's not good.
No, that's not ideal for sure. If you can't get between 3 cones fast, you're not going to be able to get between offensive tackles.
That's because it's an agility.
Oh, no,
like
I totally agree with
can
you.
Change your direction when the QBs are shifting in the pocket? That's definitely a big red flag.
Yep. So there's a perfect kind of segue. We have some cones set up in the studio. Can we bring the cones in? Okay, we don't have cones. That was cut. We had budget cuts. We didn't know we were going to get that super chat from HexFix. If we did, we would have had cones.
We'd be doing the 3-cone
We'd
drill
be doing
right
the
now.
cone drill all day for sure. Kellen, very, very happy. Like, I think I was at first a little let down because I saw JJ fallen and was like, let's go get him. But it's clear that Sean Payton likes Bo Nix more than he liked JJ. We definitely could have moved a 4th and a 5th, and we could have had a sweeter deal than the Vikings did. And so I'm believing in that because I believe in Sean Payton. I've seen what he's done with Jameis Winston, with Teddy Bridgewater, with Taysom Hill, with Drew Brees, and then the improvement we saw with Russell Wilson. And then I trust the same thing's going to happen with Bo. I also think that with there are people saying they hope Drake May fell to us. I think the thing with Bo Nix is he is smart enough to come in and play tomorrow and win tomorrow. So I think that is an interesting part of this, that I don't think he needs to sit like a lot of quarterbacks did. And Sean Payton wants to win now. I think this is crazy, but Sean Payton is the 2nd oldest coach in the NFL. Someone can fact check me on that. I think the only older one, maybe Paul could make sure that's true. I think the only older one is Andy Reid, and we know Sean Payton had a sweet deal with Fox and was living his best life doing broadcasting and could do that. I don't think he's going to be here for a decade, and he doesn't want to go out missing the playoffs. He is just the ultimate streak breaker. We hadn't won in Buffalo in crazy amount of years. We went and did it. We hadn't beat the Chiefs in 8 years. We did it. We'd never beat Pat Mahomes, and we did it. And I think he's ready to break that last streak. That last streak is making the playoffs. And my hot take is Bo Nix will be the first quarterback leading us to the playoffs since Peyton Manning. And that's just crazy, crazy.
Just to confirm, he is the 6th oldest head coach.
Paul, if
both Harbaughs are older.
Okay, well, one of them wasn't in it when I knew that.
I'm not sure Mike McCarthy technically counts as a coach anymore.
No.
Andy Reid and Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
But he's not much of a difference between a lot of those guys. He's 59. He's getting old.
Yeah. Massive shout out, Chris. Man, if we knew this, we would have bought more cones. Chris, huge shout out. Appreciate that a ton, man. This is the kind of stuff that definitely helps my wife be cool with me, like chilling in the basement a lot. So I really, really appreciate all this and have loved doing Sports Talk Denver. And really, like, money aside, it's truly just like interacting with all the people who love what I do. So thank you so much. All right. Okay. 61. Okay. Maybe I won't say things that aren't true anymore, but 6th and like one of them wasn't in the league when I read that stat, like Harbaugh wasn't there. And yeah. And then, like you said, the other one doesn't really count. So really the 4th oldest. He's old for an NFL coach. He's old.
It's like 20 years younger than our president. That's got to count for something.
Okay. Paul, we're probably going to get censored on YouTube. Gosh. No political comments unless it's about Aaron Rodgers as the vice president in his
I'm
darkness
sorry.
cave. Come on, man.
What if I say he's like 20 years older than like the other person, or 20 years younger than the other person trying to run for president? Everybody's old.
Okay.
In politics.
Yes. Okay. Very
Okay.
good point. Yep.
Both
See?
sides.
Yep. Fair and balanced. That's us on Sports Talk Denver. Fair and balanced. Just the news. Dude, Caleb Williams, man. I don't buy it, man. I think there's
Come on.
I don't. I think like if he had this kind of vibe 10 years into the league after multiple Super Bowls, like that's one thing, but he's walking around like he's Pat Mahomes when he hasn't won anything, you know?
He won the Heisman. That's got to count for something.
Well, so did Reggie Bush, and it was taken from him.
No, they gave it back just this week.
Okay. Well,
So
again,
it means something.
Paul
again.
with all these fact checks.
OJ won the Heisman.
Oh man, I better end this. Oh man. Do you think we'll ever find out like who killed Nicole Smith? Any fact checkers on here?
I think I saw I don't know how true this is, but
fact check.
I think I saw that
he is the
made,
oldest coach in the history of the NFL, Sean Payton. All right, sorry, go ahead. No.
I think I saw he like made a bunch of his family sign non-disclosures.
Yes,
on
which
his death.
that's
not a good sign.
My family has too. You're gonna sign one too. Oh yes, I think this is crazy, man. Like we've passed on McCaffrey's before, and it has never worked out for us. Like I wanted Christian here so badly, and yeah, if we got Luke McCaffrey, like he wasn't your quarterback in Michigan for a while.
Dylan McCaffrey, his brother was.
Yeah. But like I actually got to see Christian play a game at Valor Christian when I was living there, and it was incredible. So yeah, the talent there. All right, pick is in for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wide receiver here. What do you think?
I don't know. Yeah, I could see wide receiver.
Do they have a quarterback, Paul?
Well, they got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson.
It was a joke.
Two of the best in the game.
All right, we're getting a little speech here.
Yeah, come on.
Think
we always want the pick.
Yeah, man. I think this was a speech written by ChatGPT. You can tell because there's a lot of emojis in it. All right, pick is in. Here we go. We got the sound, and with the 20th pick in the NFL draft, Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have all right, they get offensive tackle from Washington.
Got to protect the franchise, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, man. Well, that guy better be able to block for 10 straight seconds because that's how long these guys hold the ball. And I know we want to move on from Russ, and I don't want to dog him, but the two players who hold the ball longer than anyone in the NFL are Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and one of them is going to be the quarterback. So truly, this guy had better be able to block for a long, long time. All right, so if you're looking at draft boards, like, this is one of the folks were saying they were going to trade up for, and you even look against Michigan defensive front, this guy held his own. Like he played pretty well. I think part of the reason Michael Penix was so successful was his offensive line, and we saw that in multiple games. We played him multiple times as Colorado Buffaloes, so I think this is a good value pick for them to get the 14th best player in the draft at 20 for sure.
Yeah, I thought the Washington offensive line held up a lot better against Michigan than the Alabama offensive line did.
Yeah, man, if you're looking at his kind of combine, was great that he's in the 84th percentile for 40-yard dash, which truly is probably like the least important for an offensive lineman, and the ones that really do matter, like these explosive ones, like he did extremely well. Yeah, played high school volleyball. That's a skill that really translates, right? If you were a volleyball player, you'll be a great offensive lineman.
Oh, for sure.
It's like if you know how to bump set spike it, it's the way they like it, and you can block with the best of them. Yeah, man, what are your predictions on how the Steelers do this year, and who ends up winning that starting job?
If I'm the Steelers, I probably, unless there's a very clear difference in talent, I think you got to go with Justin Fields. Like Russ, even if he's better this year, like slightly better. What is he, 35? Like, he's not
Yeah.
the future. Whereas I feel like Fields is young enough where if you like his talent even a little bit, he's young enough that he still could be your future. So if I'm them, I'm rolling with Fields, letting Russ mentor him, buy him Subway sandwiches, the dangerous, the whole works.
Yeah, and truly, like my thing with Russ is like on the contract that they're paying him, I think they'll get good production out of that, and I do think that he works hard. I don't know if he always works hard on like the right stuff. I still don't understand why he couldn't just figure out the Peyton offense, you know. But I think he'll have a lot more leeway to do that backyard football kind of style of like roll out, dodge some dudes, and throw a jump ball that in Pittsburgh, and it won't drive Mike Tomlin nuts like it drove Sean Payton nuts. So, yeah.
How does Mike Tomlin feel about quarterbacks who like are doing stretches and workouts on the team plane in the middle of the night when you're flying back from Europe? Is he good with that?
Yeah, as long as they played high school volleyball, then like it's kind of a part of it. I don't know.
So I know Russ is a big fan of doing that.
You got to stay limber. Yeah, Steelers last in the division. Yeah, I mean that truly that division and the NFC North, I think, are probably the best divisions in football. Loving. So we got a question here: do the Broncos make the playoffs with Bo Nix? I definitely think the Denver Broncos will make the playoffs with Bo Nix as their quarterback. I want to see exactly how our schedule plays out, and I think one of the Broncos' Achilles heels over the years has been going east. Like the bloodbath in Miami was like playing that early game in Miami, which is like at 11 o'clock Denver time, and you're doing that flight, and our record there is awful. And our record at home at the start of the year has just been nuts, like disproportionately good because players don't have the whole training camp to get in shape. And so then they come to altitude, and I was just back home visiting my parents, and even walking up the Westminster Promenade stairs there, I was out of breath, and I do stair stepper here all the time, and it is legit. And so I think depending on how the schedule plays out, if our hard home games, like if we get Kansas City early and they have to come to Denver, if we get that Pittsburgh game early and they have to come to Denver, I'll feel a lot better about it. I'll make official predictions, and we'll do another live. We got another friend who's going to come and do a live with us for the schedule release, but I would say Bo Nix does make us to the playoffs. Paul, curious for you and everyone on the chat, help me rank. This is the cool thing. Paul and I, as long as I've known him, play football out in the front yard while our kids are running around, and we predict each division. What do you think the AFC, how does the AFC West play out next year? And very curious to see how you guys all rank 1, 2, 3, 4 in the AFC West next year.
I mean, I think the Chiefs are one for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Hopefully Knicks can close that gap, but
yeah,
got to take Chiefs one. I think the Chargers are going to take some time. Like
I thought you were going to say be good. I
do believe in Harbaugh, big Harbaugh guy, but like they're definitely rebuilding. They lost a lot of people. That's not a 1-year rebuild.
Yeah.
I don't know. Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. Raiders don't have a QB.
No.
I do think the Broncos are the number 2 team in the division this year.
Dude, and yes, they are going to be. Yeah. So you're going
I'm
Chiefs,
probably going
Broncos.
Raiders, Chargers, 3-4.
Okay.
I think the Chargers will be the worst again this year.
Yeah, I mean, we swept the Chargers last year with Stidham once, obviously Russ once, even with a healthy Herbert, like at the start of that. So I totally agree that we're going to beat the Chargers twice this year. I think we also have a losing streak against the Raiders. That's our longest losing streak in division now, which is crazy. And I like you said, I don't know who their quarterback is, and I like Bo Nix a lot more than Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. So I think this is a quarterback league. We got to trust Sean Payton got him. And I think, until I do kind of see, like, I know Mahomes, like, I don't like him. And I know we got a lot out of a little at receiver this year, but like there's off the field stuff with Rice and drag racing. Kelsey is just older and older. And if your second best player on the team is a upper 30s tight end who's like going around with Taylor Swift. Like, I don't think they'll be as good for as long as people think they are. So I would go next year is going to be Chargers, Broncos making the playoffs, Raiders and Chargers. I'd go with that too.
All right, Chop Robinson of the Dolphins. He's fast.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's take a look at him real quick. Interesting. I mean, Dolphins, interesting team, man. The collapse of the Miami Dolphins. There was a time there when I was so mad because their coach actually was our ball boy for a while. Did you know that, Paul? Mike McDaniels was,
I heard that.
and so there was and we didn't even give him. Maybe we gave him an interview, but it was like so there was a hot second there where it was like we skipped on Kyle Shanahan and we skipped on Mike McDaniels, and I was furious. But you saw their collapse, and then this year they lost a safety. They lost a lot of talent there. I don't see them winning that division. I think the Patriots will be better. They'll still beat out the Patriots, but I think the Jets have one run in them with Aaron Rodgers. I could see the Dolphins missing the playoffs next year.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. And I mean, it's a quarterback league, and I mean, Tua is solid, but he's not Allen, he's not Burrow, he's not Mahomes, he's not Herbert, he's not Stroud, he's not Lawrence. Hopefully, he's not going to be Nix.
Yeah,
and I don't see them going much of anywhere.
So, all right, so we're looking here, and it is Chop Robinson. So they're picking him at 21 when they're saying he's 23. So maybe a little bit of a reach there, but one of the other things there is like Bradley Chubb got hurt in that meaningless game and is out all next season. There might be a potential that he comes back for the end, like right at the playoff time, but I just don't think they will. And I think they'll be so far away from Buffalo that, I think they've taken a step back, which is great as we're talking about how the Broncos are going to make the playoffs next year. There was it was such a tight race towards the top there. And so we need teams like the Bengals and the Dolphins to take steps back. We need the division winners to like run away with it and have everyone else kind of suck. So whoever is going to win this division, we want them to win it massively. And we want the Bills to sweep the Dolphins. We want, we want to pick like Baltimore to sweep that division and knock the Bengals back. That's our big path to the playoffs, is that wild card spot by having a big gap between division winners and behind there.
Yeah, and I think Chop, he'll probably be, I could definitely see him being a double-digit sack guy because he is so fast, but he's not big. Like, what does it say? 6'3", 254.
Yeah.
He's not one of these guys like and the first person who comes to my mind is Montez Sweat, who can play all three downs, impact the run game on first and second down, and rush the passer on third. He's not doing that. He probably will get double-digit sacks, but he's mostly going to be a third down impact guy, which, that is obviously important to have that, but he's not going to be one of these every down blowing up the play kind of guys.
Definitely the coolest NIL deal for Chop Robinson. He endorsed pork chops. And we're big fans of pork chops. Are you?
Yeah, I like pork chops.
100%.
Is there like a pork chop brand?
Of course there is. It's the Pennsylvania Pork Producers Council. And
I should have known that. That's
a great segue here. If you're eating some wet lettuce, one of the best things to eat with wet lettuce is Pennsylvania Pork Producer Council pork chops. But yeah, I don't know. This is a good pick for them, but I like that they didn't get a lot better. That he certainly isn't a Micah Parsons, but I mean, is there any shades of Micah Parsons here that the Broncos picked Pat Surtain over Micah Parsons and people wonder if that was a good choice? Do you see any of that with him?
No, he's definitely not Micah Parsons. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me to see him be a 10 sack kind of guy, but he's not like defensive player of the year caliber like Parsons is.
I mean, you could honestly see he's got that one gear of being a pass rusher, which as a rookie, you can come in and do that. But eventually that when you're in there, you just run away from him or know that you can run at him. And that was the problem we had with Nick Bonito for a while. All right. So we got the Philadelphia Eagles on the board. They were trade up candidates. Sounded like they really wanted to move up. Their pick is in. They're looking kind of stoic as well. Let's see here what people are saying about their predictions for the Broncos.
Got to be a corner here to the Eagles, right? They still no corners off the board.
Very, very good news. If the Denver Broncos don't believe in Riley Moss, you could see a world where we trade. We don't have a second, but like I said, getting into the second round isn't all that challenging. If, yep, later Raiders last, Chargers 3, we're second, and then, but man, you just never know. Like, could you see a world where, I mean, Jason's brother is not that much, or Travis's brother is not that much older than him, just retired. Travis has more interest off the field now with Taylor than he had on it. And yeah, I like how that sets up the money that they have invested in an aging Chris Jones, in an aging Travis Kelce, in an aging Patrick Mahomes makes you feel happy that that's where their money goes. And we've hit rock bottom and we're bouncing up hard. And I like where we're at. It's definitely more exciting.
Future is bright.
Poncho, love that, man. I'd go nuts if we did. I just want to be somewhat realistic. I think that would be hard, but you never know how it goes. We beat him this year, and the game we lost to him was like when I talked about like I'll wait till the schedule comes out. Playing a away game on a Thursday night is really tough, and we held Patrick Mahomes to 19 points in an away game in Arrowhead, and we didn't. I think Bo Nix is going to help us get 19 points up. So if our defense can do that, we play him tough. Yep, totally agree there.
For sure.
Roger Goodell says the NFL has gone global. He's pitching a new NFL cryptocurrency. It's going to be called NFL coin. You can get it right here, right below in the comments. The global stuff for the NFL is pretty cool, man. Like playing games in Brazil, right? I think the season opens in Brazil with Eagles Green Bay was the thing. And I don't know. You just see how when the dream team for the NBA went overseas, how much talent that brought in. And now you could say that with Jokic and Giannis and Embiid, that the NBA is a world game,
Mm-hmm.
So looks like the Eagles pick is coming to us from down under, and Bluey in Australia is going to make it for us. First corner off the board to the Eagles, and man, that was what it was. They were saying they wanted to trade up and get was a great corner. So the Philadelphia Eagles, that's kind of a steal, man. They got the best corner in the draft, the cornerback from Toledo. It was interesting to me, man, how he just climbed draft boards, and it was Terrion Arnold all that time, and then out of nowhere, this dude came. So why are they saying that Quinyon Mitchell climbed so high?
So he ran like a crazy fast 40. I think like a 4.33 if I remember correctly. Yeah, maybe you can get it pulled up here, but it was one of the fastest 40s at the combine. I might just be as simple as that.
Yeah,
like he had the tape, but I think a lot of people.
Dude, you're unreal.
Oh yeah, it was a 4.33.
Like even at 11 o'clock at night.
I think a lot of people sometimes wonder about these like small conference guys, like can they play against the legit players? And you see a number like 4.33 on the 40, pretty impressive vertical leap, and you see like, okay, his physical tools match the incredible tape he has, even though he didn't go against the competition that Terrion Arnold did. He obviously has the physical tools to do it. So that would be my guess why he jumped.
I mean, who does Toledo even play? Like who's in, I don't know, college
they're
football
in the
like
MAC, so they're playing like Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Miami of Ohio.
Dude, I just don't, I don't trust that, right? Like to say that Obviously, that's a steal for the Eagles to get him so late, but why on earth? Like, how could he be 12? Like, do you ever have amazing talent come out of those schools?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, sometimes there's just players who are just special, and it doesn't matter what school they're at, you can see it. I mean, like, I think what did Randy Moss go to
So,
Marshall?
we are Marshall.
Yeah, we are like, you can just there's sometimes you can just see players where it's just like, yeah, this guy, it doesn't matter where he went, he's a dude.
Yeah.
He's gonna be legit.
Yeah. Yeah, probably a disappointment for him, but yeah, to have the top corner in the draft fall all the way to 22 is crazy.
Yeah, I think did they go number 5 last year? Devin Witherspoon to the Seahawks. So yeah, this is
obviously
much
Surtain felt like a fall to 9 to us a couple
Yeah.
years ago. So to have it all like a full, 10 picks, because to move up to this spot would have cost you nothing,
Mhm.
And yeah, you get to have that 5th-year option with him. I think that's a really good, smart pick for the Eagles, and yeah.
Jags are next. They traded down. There was rumors that they were going to trade up because they wanted a receiver. So I would wonder if this will be Xavier Worthy right here, or maybe Brian Thomas from LSU.
Yeah. Yeah, I want the Jaguars to be bad just because I like it when all the generational talent people are wrong. So I would love if somehow they weren't good, Another division where if you had another team in there could run away with it, it would help us out a lot. Who do you think wins this division?
I mean, it's crazy to think after like a year ago, I would have thought they were one of the most garbage teams in the NFL. But I mean, the Texans seem like they
Yep.
got that locked up for the next decade.
Yeah. And I think that really is the hope of Bo Nix for us, you guys, that CJ Stroud, people were saying like Levis is better, Bryce Young is better, and clearly he was the guy, and they kind of lucked into it. And I don't think Sean Payton lucks into it. And Sean Payton came out and said, we're gonna evaluate quarterback talent, we're gonna be good at it, and we're happy that no one else is. And I think he's laughing that people stretched at JJ and maybe his smoke screens worked, and we got the guy we wanted all along. Great question here. Wilson or Stidham as a backup. I think like a backup, I would rather have Stidham. But I think the cool part about Wilson is we've talked about it before, is that like that's Sean Payton getting 2 fishing rods in the lake, and it just doubles your chance of catching a fish. And so if Bo Nix is a 36% chance of hitting, Wilson a couple years ago was the 2nd overall pick in the draft, and Kyle Shanahan wanted him, and a lot of smart football dudes wanted him, and he hasn't had good coaches. So I think backup is Stidham, but I don't know, like how you give Wilson and Bo Nix a shot at it, but it's got to be Bo Nix's job to lose, right? Like, what do the Broncos do this offseason there?
Yeah, I think it can be almost bad for a rookie QB to take those reps away from him. I feel like you need to come into it like either he needs to sit a year or he doesn't.
Yeah.
And if he needs to sit a year, then he sits. But if you don't believe he needs to sit a year, then I think making him share reps in camp and make him share the time throwing to the number 1 wide receivers, I think that can only damage him. So if you don't think he needs to sit a year, then I don't even think it should be a competition.
Yeah. All right, Jaguars up at the podium. And the 23rd pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars, getting Brian Thomas, wide receiver from LSU. Man, that seems high, right?
I think a lot of people had him kind of going around this area.
Man. So yeah, you look at all the tools that Jaden Daniels had around him, and we are talking another top wide out here. So obviously Malik Neighbors off the board, and now we're coming down here to, these are all players. Let's go pass catchers. Yep. So I guess, yeah, you're spot on here for the Ringers big board that they had him at 22 and the Jags got him at 23. I mean, like the size of this dude, man. Like he's 6'4", but like fairly fast, right? Like so you're seeing Christian Watson as a comp. As the commissioner of the fantasy football league we run, Christian Watson on my fantasy team, right? And I start him whether or not he's playing in the game or not, because
Even if he's injured for 6 weeks,
exactly.
You start him all 6
because
weeks.
I believe in that talent, Paul, and that's the thing you just don't get. So, Paul, like this would be a good time as the commissioner of this league. What is my strategy when I'm building a team, and what NFL franchise makes up the majority of every single player on my team?
So I think that what I've noticed from you is your strategy is like which player is on the Denver Broncos, and then you get them, and that's it.
When we had Julius Thomas and CJ Anderson that no one had ever heard of, and I picked them up as like free agents, I won the league. And then since then, haven't been exactly competitive, as you would say. I have Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, and Cortland Sutton on my team. And
may or may not have traded
here,
every single asset you have to get Russell Wilson. I think it was Tua. And this is a dynasty league. Was it 2 future firsts or 3 future
Tua first? And 2 future first round picks for Russell Wilson.
And I think those future firsts are all going to be top 3 picks.
Yep. How do they determine who gets the first picks in this league?
Who the worst team is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I get it. I get what you're picking up, what you're throwing down there. Wow. All right. So we got Dallas Cowboys on the board. I mean, really interesting. Like, obviously, America's team is the Denver Broncos, but then America's second team is the New England Patriots, and then the third team for the nation is the Dallas Cowboys. So a lot of, moving on from Ezekiel Elliott, and they had that new running back who everyone was like, oh, he's a difference maker, and he wasn't. Is this way too high for them to get a running back?
This year, yeah, it's not. And I think Blake Corum's a great guy, but I think most people are expecting the running backs to not start until middle of the second round. It's actually rumors. I think they might be bringing Zeke back.
Wow.
But, yeah, I'm not sure where they go here. Maybe interior offensive line. We haven't seen a center yet or a guard.
Yeah, for sure. I think you can get good like talent later at center, and like the Broncos have had talented centers that we got very late with Cushenberry and stuff like that. But yeah, that would be interesting to see. Obviously, I think if Michael Penix was still on the board, I heard rumors that the Broncos might try to get, or the Cowboys might try to get Penix here, knowing that Dak wants a major deal next year, and it doesn't seem like Jerry's willing to budge on that. But this is way too high for Spencer Rattler, right?
Yeah, it'd be pretty surprising to see Rattler go here.
Anything, what do we want to try to stay through on here, man? I feel like the energy, like I'm like, we're educators. We've been up teaching these kids since early this morning. What do you how long we want to go on here? Let us know in the chat. Are we riding this thing all the way out?
As the people want it.
Yeah, we give the people what they want on here. So let us know what everyone's thinking. Let's see what the score of the Nuggets game. We haven't checked in on it. What is your prediction? Nuggets in LA. Obviously, like this is if they win here, series is over. What's your prediction?
I think they like to coast for the first quarter to make the Lakers feel like they have a chance. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're losing right now, but then they'll end up coming back.
I kind of have a feeling, and I have not seen, we're going to share it with you all as I react. I have a feeling that we ripped the heart out of the Lakers with that victory, and we're okay. Well, I'll change that pick. Okay, we're down. Not bad. Right? We know that LeBron and Anthony Davis just don't close anymore because of their age, and he's like LeBron's kind of like a fighter who has like good 6 rounds, but he can't make it all the way through because he's 40 years old, man. So
it is not Jordan.
Yeah,
Jordan would close it.
Yeah, and then like be a bad teammate to everyone. Is this a good time for a Jordan LeBron debate? Everyone,
it's always a good
Are those
time for
anywhere on the
LeBron
internet?
debate.
I've never read a Jordan LeBron debate anywhere on the internet. Yeah, so no hate to anyone who's signing off. Mark, thanks for being here. Nagami, you too. Thanks for being here. We got tons of sports coverage of this, what I think. I'll keep you all up to date, and we got tons more planned for days 2 and 3 of the draft. And I really do trust the Denver Broncos and George Payton's ability to find talent late in the draft. And I think we're going to keep doing that. We also have like a crazy streak in Denver of undrafted free agents coming in and making a difference. Obviously, Chris Harris Jr. We've had running backs do it. We've had McMillian do it. So, yeah, I feel like we know how to evaluate talent. George Payton and Sean Payton were talking about spending 4 hours looking at 5th round draft picks. So it's like, man, they go deep on it, and got to trust that for sure. All right, so your prediction here is I'll predict running back just because I want to be crazy, and I would love to see Blake Corum. Oh my goodness, it's showing Detroit right now. So it's one thing
That's
for us
crazy.
here with LaCroix, HDTV. But man, could you imagine standing for 4 hours to just see Roger Goodell come out but they're all staying because the Lions pick is late.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how full this thing was now if like the Lions picked like they usually do at like 12,
I would love to see them trade their pick and not have a first round pick and disappoint all their fans.
I love it. Okay, I'm actually.
Oh, they traded up. The Lions are on the clock.
Oh man, I was just gonna go spam the Lions stream and say, hey, they just traded back.
Dan Campbell. I would take a bullet for Dan Campbell. Like I don't like the Lions, but I would fire him.
Yeah, so Sean Payton though.
Yeah.
What would be like the biggest reach right now? That would be funny to say in their chat.
Blake Corum. Another running back in the first round. Spencer Rattler. Yeah. I wonder who they're moving up.
Wow. So yeah, Lions jumping Dallas, and that's weird because that's kind of turned into a little bit of a rivalry there, right? Like they're both fighting for the same thing,
Yeah. Trying to think who would they be trading up for? Oh, I wonder if it's gonna be Terry and Arnold or
Oh,
Kool-Aid
dude,
McKinstry.
yes, because they were rumored in the Pat Surtain thing, and
Yeah.
like Campbell is cheesy grinning.
And they had like a decent corner, Cam Sutton.
Yeah,
And then he was a wanted criminal.
kind of
who
like
was evading
murdery. Yeah,
police.
yeah. What was his name? Cam Sutton.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny. Oh, Vader, as a fellow Star Wars dude, I had my Stormtrooper mask up there. Much love. Thank you. I'm having a blast doing this and appreciate all the love for sure. So thanks for watching. Thanks for riding with us. Nix is the fix. Yeah, I mean, if I'd be good calling it out if it goes Lions Green Bay, I'd be good right? Because who's even left after that? And I'll check Twitter and make sure Broncos aren't trading back up. But yeah, let's get through these two, and then I mean, if there's any like push-up contest that people want to see us do, I'll do it. But otherwise,
We could like fight for everybody, like a fist
oh
fight.
yeah,
That'd probably get
Yeah.
views.
right. Fan beats, man. It's been a blast hanging with you. We got a lot more of these things now that I'm like figuring out YouTube. We're gonna do schedule release. I got a guy working on like building us a Discord server so that like y'all can talk to and I can actually hear your voices and stuff like that, so that we could blow this thing up and really collaborate. So excited for that. Girls flag football. Broncos just added girls flag football to Colorado They just announced it, so it's going to be a varsity sport in Colorado, which is pretty cool. Kelly sounds like a smoke show. Also might be your wife, or if this isn't that Kelly, sorry I said that. Thanks for saying we're doing great. Thanks, Alberto. It was a lot of fun, man. Go Broncos. This got to be Terrion Arnold, right? That's a really good pick.
Maybe Kool-Aid McKinstry, but it's got to be a corner here.
Yep.
Terrion Arnold.
Wow, Terrion Arnold is a great pickup for them, and I think as Broncos fans, like that can be our NFC team that we adopt. The Detroit Lions.
Come on.
Yeah, I know. We owe it to Paul.
Caleb Williams.
Yes, we owe it to Paul.
And I'll be team Bo Nix.
Okay. All right, man. I got you. Okay. Terrion Arnold. Let's go into where are they? I want to. Cool. Sweet, man. Let's stay through Green Bay pick. Then we'll shoot a couple shots for Bo Nix, and we'll get out of here. So so Packers, pretty cool that they looked really good in the playoffs, and Broncos beat them at home. That like kind of started our win streak, started turning things around. Obviously they seem to move on from Aaron Rodgers right at the perfect time. What do you see playing them a bunch of times a year? What do you see as their need in Green Bay?
Oh, I hate it. I really thought they were going to take a huge step back this year, and they were legit. Their defense is solid. They have some pretty talented young receivers. You got Josh Jacobs now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are happy to see him out of the division.
You just hit the standing desk.
I could see them going maybe corner here. Who's the best player available at this point?
I think probably Kool-Aid. Let's look.
Could be Kool-Aid. So I don't see them picking a receiver. I guess Bakhtiari, he's
gone, right? Yeah.
If there's still a tackle left, I could see them trying to pick their new tackle of the future.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go on to the Lions one or theirs and spam that too. All right.
Oh, you got a lot of basketballs in here.
Yep. I do. Always ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. That's a cold hard fact. Take that one to the bank. All right. Let's all right. What's the game? Like, is it? I don't want to like jinx us. So when I was growing up, I would always like be like, oh, if I make this shot, I'm gonna make the NBA, and then I'd miss it and stuff like that. So is it like if one of us makes one of these three, Bo Nix makes the Pro Bowl this year?
Yeah, I think that's
okay. Right. Paul, do not S this up for us. Okay, Paul, you go first.
If you're taking two, maybe you should go first.
No, but then it's just okay. All right, so how did Jamal do it? AD was on him. Jamal is better. Kind of leaned back, and he was like, okay, we got 2 shots left. Oh, someone said, okay, Paul.
All right, this is for Broncos Nation. I know I'm a Bears fan, but I love you guys.
Broncos country.
Broncos country. I'm sorry.
Oh, Paul, I trust you to make it more than me.
Do it. I don't know.
Yeah, do it. Right. Okay. Bo Nix is going to make the Pro Bowl this year if Paul sinks this shot. No, Paul. Yeah, I meant Caleb Williams. Okay, give me one more. Give me one more. Give me one more. All right, here we go. Bo Nix to the Pro Bowl. Oh, it was lined up. It was lined up. Oh my goodness, this is okay.
Cut the stream.
Okay, cut the stream. Hey, thank you, all of you. The super chats was amazing. The vibes in here were incredible. We just appreciate it so much. We will keep the content coming, and you all have a great night. Stay safe. Broncos
I had
country.
a lot of fun with you guys.
Oh man,
let's ride.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that a lot. You guys are the best. Yeah, I'm buying that Bo Nix jersey. I'll definitely post it on the community. Curly Manili, Terrell Davis's friend, nephew's friend, fellow Thornton guy, my guy. I appreciate it a ton. Thank you guys. Nix is the fix, and I believe it. Take it to the bank.